To the July 19, 2023 Portland City Council meeting. Keelan, will you please call the roll?
Good morning. Gonzalez.
Here.
Maps.
Here.
Rubio.
Here.
Ryan.
Here.
Wheeler.
Oh, excuse me. Now I'll pass it to legal counsel to go over the rules of order and decorum.
Good morning. Welcome to the Portland City Council. To testify before council in person or virtually, you must sign up in advance on the council agenda at www.portland.gov/council/agenda. Information on engaging with City Council can be found on the council clerk's webpage. The presiding officer preserves order and decorum during City Council meetings. The presiding officer determines the length of testimony. Individuals generally have 3 minutes to testify unless otherwise stated. A timer will indicate when your time is done. Disruptive conduct such as shouting, refusing to conclude your testimony when your time is up, or interrupting others' testimony or council deliberations will not be allowed. If you cause a disruption, a warning will be given. Further disruption will result in ejection from the meeting. Anyone who fails to leave once ejected is subject to arrest for trespass. Additionally, council may take a short recess and reconvene virtually. Your testimony today should address the matter being considered. When testifying, state your name for the record, but your address is not necessary. Disclose if you are a lobbyist, and if you are testifying representing an organization, please identify it. For testifiers joining virtually, please unmute yourself once the council clerk calls your name. Thank you.
Thank you. So first up is communications, and would you please read item 591?
Request of Alan Combs to address council regarding implementation of charter reform.
Welcome.
All right. Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Alan Combs. My pronouns are he, him. I've lived in this city for 22 years and have spoken to you before. I'm appreciative of Commissioner Gonzalez and Ryan's initiative held yesterday, the work session on charter reform amendments, and appreciative that all the commissioners and the mayor participated. Portlanders voted for charter reform as a package last November because they wanted the Portland city government to be a model of representative democracy and to finally address the deep structural dysfunctions in how this city is run. Portlanders voted in reform and for reform, and they expect demonstrable improvements to the delivery of city services. Yesterday's session reinforced information already coming out from the press that the cost of implementing charter reform will be far higher than expected, and without important changes will set our new form of government on a path to failure. Failure that will cause more working families to leave Portland, a Portland less able to serve those most in need. It will lead to voter backlash to the rules meant to improve representation within our city. Here are two things you can do. First, a feasible option that can be done before our new city council is seated in 2025 is to refer back to voters this fall the specific question of whether the mayor should have veto power over the new city council, which will be a legislative body. Last year's reform package was initially touted as a strong mayor proposal, yet the all-or-nothing package put before voters actually gives the mayor only a tiebreaker vote and less than complete control over how the administrator is hired. As a result, without change, the city's only elected representative that requires a majority to win will not have executive power commonly provided in governance models used in numerous other U.S. cities. Commissioner Mapps, you are on record as supporting a mayor that has veto power subject to override by a 2/3 majority of the city council. It is not too late for you to bring that question to voters. Commissioner Rubio, you have emphasized your commitment to inclusive community dialogue. Please start that dialogue. Get out of your comfort zone and have it with a wide range of city interests. Support democracy and allow voters to weigh in this fall. As to why our new governance model will be at risk for failure, I do not need to belabor the multiple crises you are confronting in this city. You are losing taxpayer residents and businesses, and there will be a recession in the next year. Do you want your legacy to be that you handed the city over to a more dysfunctional council? I was going to speak also on specific costs. There's cost controls you can do, but thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alan.
Will you read the next item?
Item 592, request of Portland Advocates for Safe Drinking Water to address council regarding water lead levels. Are you able to unmute?
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes,
And clearly, you can hear me clearly, no in and out?
we hear you great.
Okay, good. Good morning, commissioners. I'm here on behalf of Portland Advocates for Lead-Free Drinking Water, one of several national grassroots coalitions. First, Water Commissioner Mapps and Director Solmer, you told council colleagues a significant misstatement in May, but neglected to correct the record even after multiple requests from both rural and urban residents requesting you to do so. PWB's original $350 million filtration plant proposal, whose estimated costs have now ballooned to a whopping $1.8 billion, is in fact not federally required. Secondly, and unbelievably, we've spent years of reaching out to you about chronic elevated and excessive lead in the drinking water delivered by Portland Water Bureau. From Flint to DC to Newark to Portland, we came to the Water Bureau and Council with facts, independent expertise, and swift solutions to prevent lead exposure. But you didn't want to talk about it, so you remained silent. The Water Bureau censured us or played word games with us. We asked, we urged, we then begged council to follow the national prevention model, a free, filters first approach that prioritizes the most vulnerable. You pretended to listen, and then you did what you wanted. We've come to understand that dismissing citizens and voters alike is possible here because of the current commission form of government. Every one of the many grassroots organizations who have come to you have faced the same wall. Too much power rests with too few people. The people voted to change that last fall because in the commission form of government, each of you can too easily disregard the people. Yesterday, we sat in on your work session. You proposed to weaken the new voter-approved charter reform, a model of democratic governance. We see what you're trying to do. And really, how dare you? How dare you try to overturn the will of the voters? Finally, we'd like to again thank the many national experts, scientists, and advocates in other cities similar to us who were willing to tell us the whole truth about lead and water, a potent neurotoxin in municipal drinking water, when our own water and city officials would not. Thank you.
Thank you. Next item.
Item 593, request of D. White to address council regarding failure to eliminate lead from drinking water. They canceled their request.
Okay.
Item 594, request of Justin Adams to address council regarding quality of life in Portland.
Hello,
Justin.
council.
Yeah, there we go.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello, council. I am Justin Adams, Executive Director of the World Economic Forum, and I'm here to congratulate the city of Portland on winning the Supreme Compliance Award. Portland has far outwhelmed our already elevated expectations as currently the top performing city worldwide, narrowly edging out Kiev and Mogadishu. It is actually the only city on track to meet our 2030 vision of its people owning nothing and being happy ahead of schedule. Well, upset for the part about being happy, but that's not the important part. I have to applaud the ingenuity of city leaders in inventing ways to use law enforcement to simultaneously criminalize normal behavior through extrajudicial mandates while legitimizing and promoting degenerate behavior. More cities should consider adopting your model in order to pave way for the great reset. We have found that widespread fentanyl and heroin use are some of the most effective ways to break the will of the people and make them more accepting of our societal changes, and Portland has been at the forefront of those experiments. This year, Portland has also made massive progress towards installing a social credit score system with endless arbitrary mask restrictions and vaccine passports designed to test and break the president's free will. The data is in now, thanks to Portland and cities alike. With just a little dogma and propaganda, people will be willing to accept just about any impositions without question or even thinking about them. The citizens have even started social enforcement of the credit system without encouragement from higher up. In our wildest dreams, we never imagined this would have been possible. This is progress. Also this year, Portland, in an astonishing victory, has outperformed longtime American rivals of Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Seattle in increasing its homeless population. Portland even ranks second worldwide to Kiev in this regard. We again have to congratulate city leaders on such decisive action. A large homeless population is a crucial step along the way to coercing the population to live in pause. There even has been an uptick in bug consumption in Portland. Due to the hyperinflationary prices and planned collapse of the middle class, many of Portland's homeless have switched to a cheaper and more sustainable diet, including bugs. At this rate, soon, almost all the citizens of Portland will have to switch to a bug-based diet like the unwashed masses they are. Unfortunately, there is some room to improve for the city of Portland. The murder rate has become so high that we are losing future serfs at an alarming rate. We need there to be an underclass for us to rule over, or this is all for nothing. You should leverage your status as a sanctuary city with the cartels to create a rewards program for discount price fentanyl for abstaining from murdering. We look forward to continuing our partnership with Portland and manufacturing the New World Order and crushing the human spirit, and thanks city leadership for going above and beyond our covert demands. This would not be possible without you. I rest my time.
Thank you. Next up.
Regarding her story 2019 to now in Multnomah County, they canceled their request.
Okay, great. So does that conclude all of our communications?
That completes
All right.
communications.
So if there are no more other comments from my colleagues, then we will move on to the consent agenda until we begin the time certain. So Keelan, have any items been pulled from consent?
No.
No? Okay. Then please call the roll.
Gonzalez,
Aye.
Maps,
Aye.
Ryan,
Aye.
Rubio.
Aye. Okay, consent passes. Next, we will move on to the first time certain.
Item 596, authorize amended and restated intergovernmental agreement between Prosper Portland and the city acting through its Office of Management and Finance, Bureau of Revenue and Financial Services for River District Urban Renewal Area Support.
Great, thank you. Colleagues, I'll start by giving appreciation to my co-sponsor of this item, Mayor Wheeler, and his team for their leadership on this particular item. And I'd also like to preface this presentation by emphasizing the importance of the agency partnerships outlined in these IGAs. Redevelopment of the 14-acre former U.S. Postal Service property at the heart of Broadway Corridor District represents one of Portland's most significant prospects to create a vibrant and welcoming neighborhood with equitable economic opportunities and mixed income housing. This vision has and will continue to require cross-agency collaboration. For instance, restructuring the city's debt repayment will prioritize a portion of the resource from land sales to fulfill public infrastructure and community benefits obligations, align cash flow obligations with the future land sale transactions, and contribute to the general fund support. And the Portland Housing Bureau and Prosper Portland's joint acquisition of the site will provide for an estimated 720 units of affordable housing to be built within the Broadway corridor through a combination of direct investment and private sector development. I'm proud of the work Prosper Portland has done to date to ensure that the public dollars being spent on the site preparation are benefiting Portland businesses, including minority-owned businesses and Black, Indigenous, people of color, and female workers. I also look forward to Portland Housing Bureau issuing a notice of funding available for a first phase of affordable housing in the coming months. And now I'd like to turn it over to Prosper Portland Executive Director Kimberly Branham and Housing Bureau Interim Director Molly Rogers to share more about this agreement.
Commissioner Rubio, we've had a request to read 597 also, so they can be presented
Oh,
together.
great, okay.
Okay, I'll
Apologize
go ahead and
about
do that.
All right.
Okay. Authorize an intergovernmental agreement between Prosper Portland and Portland Housing Bureau for the purpose of facilitating the development of affordable housing within the Broadway corridor.
Great.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Kimberly Branham. I use pronouns like she and her, and I'm Executive Director of Prosper Portland. I'm joined, as was mentioned, by Molly Rogers, as well as Matt Garrig from the City of Portland Debt Management Team, and Sarah Harpole with Prosper Portland, who is our Senior Project Manager for Broadway Corridor. And the four of us are very pleased to be with you today to seek your approval of two critical agreements that move forward the development of Broadway Corridor. Next slide, please. So our presentation addresses both actions before you today. So I'm going to provide some background context on the overall project and give a bit of a status update where we are currently, and then dig into the elements of the intergovernmental agreement between the Office of Management and Finance and Prosper Portland. And then Molly will speak to the intergovernmental agreement with the Portland Housing Bureau. As you can see, Sarah and Matt are here to respond to any questions that you have. And before we go to the next slide, I just do want to recognize that the four of us are here and have been engaged in getting to the IGAs, but really want to recognize that it takes a significant team. And so want to appreciate, in addition to Matt, Bridget and Patty with the Office of Management and Finance, with the City Attorney's Office, Scott, Wendy, Adrian, and Robert, with the Portland Housing Bureau, Tanya and Kate, and a lot of previous Portland Housing Bureau members, and then at Prosper, both Hope, Lisa, and Tony have been instrumental. So thank you to everybody. Next slide, please. Okay, so let's start with just a bit of a refresher on what we mean when we talk about Broadway Corridor. So Broadway Corridor is the 34-acre district that you see in the green on this slide. It includes the 14-acre U.S. Post Office site. It's jointly owned by Prosper Portland and the Portland Housing Bureau, as well as the Prosper Portland-owned development site that we call Block R, and the Broadway Bridge site where the Oregon Harbor of Hope is currently located. It also includes Union Station, which is currently owned by Prosper Portland, the former Greyhound Bus Terminal, which is privately owned, and PNCA, as well as an adjacent future park that is owned by Portland Parks and Recreation. So this is an area with a tremendous amount of development potential in the heart of our city. We'll do our best to differentiate between Broadway Corridor and the U.S. Post Office site, USPS site, when we're speaking to different elements in the agreements and presentation this morning. Next slide, please. Redevelopment of the post office has long been a goal of the City of Portland, going back to at least the 1988 Central City Plan. In the Central City 2035 plan, the site was identified as perhaps the most significant opportunity within Portland's Central City. In October of 2015, City Council approved the Broadway Corridor Framework Plan, authorized a line of credit up to $40 million to acquire the site, and established high-level expectations for the site, including that 30% of the residential units would be affordable. In partnership with the Portland Housing Bureau then, Prosper Portland acquired the site in 2016 for an acquisition price of $88 million, which was used by the U.S. Post Office or Postal Service for relocation to Colwood Industrial Park by the airport. With the aim of applying lessons learned from our past large-scale public-private partnerships and ensuring that equity and inclusion were at the core of the development planning process, we convened the Broadway Corridor Steering Committee, who advised on goals for the projects, including selection of a development partner, the physical concept of the site, and priorities for mix of uses, equitable engagement, and community benefits. The master plan for the USPS site that resulted from this process reimagined a central portion of Broadway Corridor into a welcoming 21st century mixed-use urban district connecting the Pearl District and Old Town. Development of the USPS property could house between 1,800 and 2,400 new households and support upwards of 4,000 new jobs. If this growth needed to be absorbed in other locations in our region, it could take 400 acres of land and hundreds of millions of dollars of infrastructure investment to serve the same number of jobs and families with greater climate and transportation impacts for our region. Next slide, please. So in 2020, following this extensive planning and community engagement process, two key approvals were reached. Design Commission approved the master plan, which set forth the infrastructure and development requirements for the USPS site, and City Council approved the funding and finance plan, which established the public investment commitment to carry out the vision. Subsequently, City Council has also authorized the Local Improvement District in 2020 and infrastructure IGAs in 2022, flowing from this original plan of the master plan and the funding and finance plans. City Council's approval of the funding and finance plan in 2020 also directed the use of up to $15 million in general fund resources in the restructuring of debt used for the initial acquisition of the property, which is captured in the Prosper Portland OMF IGA before you today. Future approval milestones will include authorization of the terms of sale for the redevelopment of the parcels and the post office site, and the development and delivery of community benefits in partnership with private development. Next slide, please. As we're all well aware, a vision this large really requires public-private partnership. Prosper Portland has led site acquisition, planning, and site preparation, and will negotiate the terms of private development and community benefit agreement looking forward. The city has informed and approved infrastructure and open space requirements, provided commitments of system development charge investments and debt financing, established affordable housing metrics, and secured affordable housing development rights. Success will also be dependent on future partnerships with market rate and affordable housing development partners. Next slide, please. Thank you. So where are we today? Once completed at the end of the year, Prosper Portland will have invested an estimated $42 million in site preparation, hard and soft costs. True to our vision of supporting inclusive growth and our commitment to the elements of the community benefit agreement term sheet, this investment has met and exceeded our business and workforce equity policy objectives. The three scopes completed, which you see here in gray, took down the vehicle maintenance facility, remediated environmental contamination, and relocated the USPS retail facility into the parking garage. 58% of the construction was performed by MBE certified firms, and people who identify as Black, Indigenous, and people of color performed 50% of the hours worked. For the demolition of the process and distribution center, which is currently underway and shown here in orange, and being performed by Northwest Demolition and Dismantling and Raymore, 97% of the construction is contracted to certified MBEs, and we're seeing extremely strong workforce equity and apprenticeship performance to date. Next slide, please. Site preparation work will be immediately followed by construction of new streets starting next spring, which is the critical path to both market rate and affordable housing development. I just want to take a moment to express our appreciation to our colleagues at PBOT and BES and Water, who've been fantastic partners in preparing for that. And we're also excited by the planning that is being led by the Parks Bureau, and just recently they secured a partner for the planning for the park adjacent. So there is work that's happening to prepare for the fact that the site will be built out over the next 10 to 20 years and will include a future second phase of demolition and infrastructure work. Next slide, please. So Prosper Portland is currently in an exclusive negotiation agreement with Related Inc. and Melvin Mark to explore the feasibility of market rate development. The agreement concludes in January 2024, at which time we will evaluate the potential to negotiate the terms of a development agreement and community benefit agreement for one or more phases of development. This agreement does not include the parcel 4, shown in orange, which will be owned by the Portland Housing Bureau. As you'll hear from Molly, PHB will separately issue a NOFA, or Notice of Funding Available, to seek an affordable housing developer. Next slide, please. All right, so with that as background, we'll turn to the terms of the agreement before you today. The IGA between Prosper Portland and the Office of Management and Finance follows and reflects several prior City Council approvals, including the financing used for the acquisition of the property in 2015, as I mentioned, the public investment strategy or funding and finance plan that we discussed and was approved, and the local improvement district to finance the construction of the streets through the site, both approved in 2020. The IGA outlines the roles and responsibilities between the Office of Management and Finance and Prosper Portland for the repayment of the debt used for the acquisition of the property, referred to as River District indebtedness, and the certain unique aspects of the local improvement district. Next slide, please. As directed by City Council in 2020, the IGA memorializes the use of $15 million of general fund for the repayment of the debt used for the acquisition of the property. The balance of the debt will be paid by Prosper Portland in accordance with the schedule set forth in the intergovernmental agreement. As with standard local improvement districts, the final assessment and annual payments will come due at the completion of the infrastructure. And responsibility for the payments will run with the land, meaning that Prosper Portland and the Portland Housing Bureau will transfer the obligations with the sale of individual parcels to development partners. However, unique to this local improvement district, the phasing of construction will occur over 2 phases and over approximately 10 years. So per the terms of the intergovernmental agreement, Prosper Portland will be responsible for making the interim interest payments for the financing used for the first phase until the final assessment occurs. At this time, Prosper Portland will receive credit for any interest payments made on behalf of other parties. The costs will be further defined later this year as we have updated construction costs and City Council authorizes the interim debt financing. The primary repayment source will be proceeds from the sale of properties within the Broadway corridor and Prosper Portland's program income. Next slide, please. The local improvement district preliminarily estimated at $23 million includes the USPS property, Block R, which we own, as you'll recall, and the former Greyhound property, which is privately owned, all of which are sites that have significant development opportunities. So with that, I will turn it over to Molly.
Good morning, Commissioners. For the record, I'm Molly Rogers, Interim Director of the Portland Housing Bureau. I use she, her pronouns. When Prosper Portland initially purchased the USPS site, PHB contributed $14.5 million. in River District tax increment financing housing set-aside funds to acquire 16% of development rights for future affordable housing. And this was important for a number of reasons. First, we recognize that the city needs to make early commitments and investments in affordable housing to ensure we are creating inclusive, diverse, and balanced communities. Locking in lands was the surest way PHB could hedge any risks that future parcels could be used for any other purposes. Second, it is more cost-effective as this approach benefits from lower land values than when the broader site is fully built out. We've learned from past TIF districts that lining up early construction projects can catalyze other investments for the rest of the district. This investment will result in the acquisition of land for PHB to directly finance income-restricted affordable housing and the deployment of floor area ratio, or FAR, to other developers to build affordable housing within their market rate projects. And this is similar to how inclusionary housing works and necessary within the master plan framework. Next slide. The key terms of the IGA are related to the shared goal between Prosper Portland and PHB of creating a mixed income community whereby 30% approximately of future residents will be earning at or below 60% of the area median income. This was based on the current demographics of the city's residents. Preliminary estimates translated this goal into 720 new affordable homes within Broadway corridor. Prosper Portland and PHB will deliver on this goal through direct investments by PHB on parcels 4A and 4B, as well as contributing FAR to private developers to place it within their market rate housing, and doing so consistent with the FAR bonus required in inclusionary housing policy. Once all of PHB's FAR is fully allocated, Prosper Portland will be required to allocate any FAR necessary to meet the inclusionary housing FAR bonus requirements. Next slide. Oh, sorry, back previous slide. And final point is if we run short of our 720 goal, we have built in some alternate strategies. First, we have negotiated an additional parcel for PHB to control and subsidize in a future affordable housing community, just in case. Next slide. Vetted by the steering committee, PHB's parcel selection process was guided by our community's goals and values, including, is it going to contribute to helping us meet our 720 goal? Would the parcel allow for a range of household types and needs? Does the location maximize connectivity and proximity to site amenities and public spaces? Would the development be cost-effective and feasible? And will it support future residents' livability and quality of life? We reviewed around a dozen options across the entire site and identified a full block located along what we call the main street and the park frontage shown in the yellow highlights called Parcel 4. This parcel is located between Northwest Irving and Northwest Johnson and in between Northwest 9th and Park. It was important to the steering committee and PHB leadership that future affordable housing residents benefit from the new park amenities. It was also important that our parcel selection was considered within the context of where existing affordable housing communities are currently located so that we are creating a balanced future community. The other block in yellow highlights is an alternate parcel I previously referenced that Prosper Portland can make available as our safety net in case we are not on track to meeting the 720 unit goal. Next slide. The parcel built out of the PHB directly financed projects will occur in 3 phases. The first is the north portion of Block 4 as a phased 1 project. And to be clear, PHB has only identified city resources for this first phase only. We hope to go vertical by 2026 or sooner if we can assemble enough financing and the infrastructure needs are complete. The second phase is the south portion of the block, once Prosper no longer needs it for the demolition of an existing parking garage. And the third will be triggered only for not meeting sufficient progress towards our 720-unit goal. Prosper Portland and PHB have agreed to come back to the table and explore an additional parcel at that time. Next slide. By way of illustration, future development of parcel 4 could result in 2 12 to 15-story buildings that will be income restricted to households earning 60% of area median income and below. Final building size and unit counts will depend on the goals and priorities of each funding source used to finance the development. The funding sources identified for the first phase building are Metro Housing Bond Funds and River District TIF funds. Metro bond funds come with additional goals for family size units and units serving households earning 30% of area median income. Next slide. So in looking forward, Parks will be kicking off the concept design for the open space with the site, as well as the design and construction of the park block immediately to the south. BES is commencing work on critical sewer and water infrastructure necessary to serve the district this fall. PBOT and OMF will be back before City Council late this year to authorize the interim LID financing prior to the start of construction of new streets beginning in spring 2024. Construction of the new streets and utilities are critical to getting the site ready for vertical development and is anticipated to start next spring. Prosper Portland will be completing demolition work by the end of this year, as well as conferring with Related on market rate development feasibility and potential next steps to negotiate the terms of a development for the Prosper Portland controlled parcels. And the next step for PHB is to issue a solicitation this winter to select a development team to start the early work for an affordable housing project. PHB anticipates using Metro bonds for this first phase, and those are required to be used within a certain time frame pursuant to our Metro bond requirements. Therefore, any significant delays in this project could adversely impact the city's ability to deliver on our commitment to create 720 affordable housing new units on this site. Thank you. Next slide. And with that,
Yep.
discussion.
Happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Great. Commissioner Gonzalez.
Thank you. Super interesting, very, very important to the city of Portland getting this kicked into high gear. I appreciated, first of all, the importance in emphasizing that when we redevelop close in, we are reducing our footprint. I don't know that we can remind our voters enough of this important piece, that driving density, finding ways to redevelop downtown and in our core is good for the globe. And again, I don't know that we can remind enough on that. I want to clarify one piece. So right now we're looking at 30% affordable. That's our target for the area. So that's the 720 units you're referring to. That's for this area.
It translates to the 720.
Got
is our
it.
goal.
And so it's, I noticed the good report on inclusionary zoning that you all released recently. I think that was very helpful, kind of informed policymakers still trying to absorb it. What are your thoughts on what we're doing to drive market but sort of mid-income development in these projects? Because downtown, if you're talking condos, you've got on one end, affordable, the other end of the barbell, potentially very expensive, and I'm just curious what what can be done to sort of drive at the mid-level market, but sort of mid-level.
Well, we can maybe share this one. So, Commissioner, it's a really important question and one that we're thinking a lot about right now. Certainly, inclusionary housing is a helpful goal up to 80%, and I think 60 to 120% is sort of within that middle range. So, leveraging up to 80% can be really a helpful tool. That 80 to 120%, we have found that through partnership with the Portland Housing Bureau, we've been able to co-invest in some projects to be able to bridge that gap. with Prosper Portland offering tax increment finance for those that are more middle-income housing opportunities that are available. But it's an expensive proposition. And so, I think to do that at scale is going to require some thinking about what the policy tools might be. Certainly, tax increment finance can be an important contributor, but I think we want to spend some time thinking about what that full toolkit is in places where we don't have robust tax increment finance. So I think it is an area that, as we are engaging with Related, we're really curious to hear and see what their pro forma is showing us. And so we'll be able to share more about this particular project and their plans over the coming months. But as we're thinking about development in Old Town and in other places, it's becoming clear that subsidizing at the middle income level is in some ways more expensive for the city than affordable housing, because you don't have the layer of all of the other federal incentives that come with 0 to 60%. So it's a long way of saying we don't have all the answers yet, but it's something that we're looking at.
Is there, and this is kind of outside the Housing Bureau, Prosper Portland, but ongoing, discussion about what in our city code we can be evaluating to sort of target that mid-level market. And I know Commissioner Rubio's thinking a lot about that. I just, as collectively, if there's things we can do as city council, would love to hear what barriers we can, remove to reduce some of the costs just associated with construction in the city of Portland. Again, with sort of to your point, there's a lot of federal and other incentives for affordable, super important, but what we can do to help on the middle is also crucially important. So just look forward to what we can do to help there.
Just would like to emphasize, obviously we're exploring as a service area all the various tools in our toolbox, from code to zoning to when you do direct investments, when do you incent versus subsidize. That's going to be a highlight of the work session we're having next week. But it will speak to, there's some things that the study is elevating for everyone to look at. What are the infrastructure costs? What are those early infrastructure needs that this project is addressing right away to allow for developers to be able to go vertical? But often we pass on those infrastructure costs to those developments. And additionally, they're bringing up other potential components, such as SCCs. We don't have any particular policy positions, of course, in SCCs. That's a council deliberation, but that's just we're hearing as ways of, when you look at incomes, we want to have a set of incomes for the whole city. We learned that 30% of the current residents in Portland are at 60% and below. But we have scarcity across the board. So it does bring, what are those various tools? Is it more on the code side? Is it more on the incentive side? Do we do some catalytic investments that maybe we go up, but we make sure we're embedding inclusive and mixed income wherever we can?
To the last two, it's very helpful. The last two really quick questions. As we're visualizing what retail would look like in this area, we're certainly experiencing pretty substantial storefront vacancy. First floor in the city of Portland reflects zoning chases, decisions we made for a generation. We wanted to drive mixed use. We wanted to drive first floor retail. And again, this isn't necessarily a Prosper question, but you're the ones who will be interacting with developers and those who might want to look at the project. What is, any sense on, what the private investment appetite is and preferences are on sort of first floor retail specifically, because it's been such a cornerstone of what we've attempted to do downtown, and right now we're feeling some of that pain from some of those decisions.
Well, Commissioner, we'll have more to share as we have further conversations with Related and Melvin Mark, and they kind of sharpen their pencils in terms of what their plans might be in today's market. But, we did identify that Johnson Street would be, as Molly mentioned, the main street, and so that would be the priority from a retail and activation standpoint. I think we are seeing that while retail has been impacted by a number of factors, certainly the increase of online sales has been an increasing trend. We are seeing that things that are more experiential, yoga studios or childcare services, those kinds of things can continue to really benefit from ground floor retail and can benefit those who are above. So I don't know what their plans are yet, but I do think that they're probably thinking creatively around what's that mix of uses, acknowledging that we do want Johnson to be really active. But for the other streets that aren't on Johnson, I think that will be a conversation in terms of what might be allowed and what sort of creative uses there could be. We did just, I'll note that we did earmark in the community benefit agreement term sheet about $1 million to help subsidize and make those retail spaces accessible, to make sure that we have local businesses, particularly businesses owned by people of color, who can be tenants in this, what will be a beautiful, inclusive neighborhood.
Got it. Okay, I'm good for now. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Commissioner Mapps.
Thank you. I want to thank everybody for today's presentation. It was very crisp and clear and covered a lot of territory. I think I just have one broad question today, and it actually goes to Prosper. I'm trying to understand a little bit more about the dynamics and cost and frankly risk associated with this lid. And I think I heard in your presentation there's still some details to be worked out. But Director, do you have a sense of how much those lid payments are likely to be to Prosper on an annual basis, and when those payments kind of kick in?
It looks like Sarah's looking into that. So I think we estimate that for the 10-year interim payments, I think it's something like $6 million of interest costs, but we are getting refined numbers once we have the construction costs, so that will come back to you. But Sarah and Matt are well prepared to probably speak to those details.
So that's $6 million over 10 years or $6 million?
Over the 10-year
Yeah,
period.
thanks, Commissioner. As Director Brandon mentioned, so there's an interim construction period that's interest only. That's about $1.2 million per year that we're assuming a 5% interest rate where current market rates are. And then eventually there'll be long-term bonds sold, and assuming the $23 million range and long-term interest rates around 5%, it's about $2 million. And then Prosper and PHB's aggregate ownership in the LID is about 80% of that. So it'd be 80% of $2 million. And that would start in 2031, 2032 under my assumptions.
So the entire debt load is only like $2 million, or is it two?
That's P&I would be the entire debt load. Okay. And then, if land sales occur, then, the other parties will be responsible for that.
I'm just trying to project into the future and understand how the funding and budgeting for this works. So where does the money for the lid payments come from? Is that an allocation from council? No?
No.
The annual payments vary by parcel, by size of
Yeah.
the assessment, but I would say on average, they are somewhere around $150,000 per year.
Okay.
In our financial model, we have run sensitivity tests on the number of parcels that could be sold over time.
Yeah.
And Prosper Portland's cash flow model. So right now, in kind of a conservative scenario, we have assumed that we don't sell any parcels and
Yeah.
say until 2032 when those payments come due, and then start to slowly sell off parcels and show that from a cash flow perspective, we're able to maintain those payments.
Okay. Thank you. Very rich territory, lots of stuff to discuss, but I think those are all the questions I have today. Thank you.
Great. Commissioner Ryan.
Thank you, President Rubio. Beyond the flowers over there, it's really interesting to look over there. Commissioner Mapps covered some of what I was going to ask about with the LID. It's coming back to council in the fall for authorization. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. That's correct.
And I couldn't get a sense of, in the Q&A if you gave me like what your estimate is per, so pretend I don't have a condo. Say I have a condo in either the River District or in Old Town or in Pearl. Would I be a part of that LID? And then how much roughly do you think my payment would be?
So I think the payments are due to the property owner, and so the average payment on an annual basis per city block say is around $150,000. So should the developer pass that on to condos or to tenants, that would be divided by the development that occurs within that parcel. So it would be dependent on the program.
Okay. This is a good dialogue because since I've been on council, most of our LIDs have been in residential neighborhoods, putting in a sidewalk, as you know. So they've always come from PBOT with that focus. So this is a new way for me to look at LIDs. So I want to make sure that that my staff is briefed on that as we go forward, so we're not shocked when this comes to us in the fall. And I'll be, what's your engagement process been like with the neighbors? Because that invoice will be carried on to the people who live in those condos, of course.
Well, I don't know if we want to bring up the map again, but right now, the local improvement district catchment area is for the post office site, so no current residents there. The Greyhound, so that's a future development opportunity, no current residents. And then Block R, which is right next to the Bud Clark Commons, so that's also a vacant parcel. So those are the only properties that are subject to the local improvement district.
Okay, it's
So
that focused.
It's
Okay.
that focused, yeah.
Right.
So it's a little hard to see here, but the light green, that's not the park.
So I could see why the invoice is going to developers, because
Yes.
there's not a lot of people
There's
living
not a
in
lot of
this
people
section.
there. That's exactly
In
right.
fact, is there anyone living there that's paying taxes right now?
I don't believe
That's
so.
where the demolitions would take place.
Yes,
Got
exactly.
it. Okay, that's new and exciting. Just wanted to make sure I understood it. I can only imagine how difficult it is to have these conversations with private investors right now. I mean, we all saw the grim news of the third big foreclosure in downtown Portland area. I can't remember the name of the building that's more over in the northwest industrial area. Beautiful building. I was wondering about that building, and now I found out that they couldn't get anyone to lease it, so they're in foreclosure. So we're obviously in a real challenging place when it comes to private investments. And I do think that this plan suggests what we're looking at for downtown, which is more residential. And so I'm not surprised we're leading with that. That said, when you're talking to your partners on this project, what are some of the chief concerns, or what are the chief strategies so that we can, that picture, by the way, is really beautiful. Like, you should always have that up. That's the Portland we want to live in. And that picture, unfortunately, isn't seen very often in downtown. So I'm all in to try to get this vision going. Just curious, who's on your stakeholder panel that is helping you with the private investment, which we all know is leaving our city in record numbers at the moment?
Well, our chief conversations right now are with Related and Melvin Mark. And they are, Related has national presence. We're working with their West Coast team. And so Sarah can speak a little bit to those conversations, but I think they have, they're engaging brokers, they're engaging experts to understand what the market demand might be, and then also looking at how a project might pencil, and certainly interest rates right now aren't helping anything, and the cost of construction is challenging. But I have a lot of confidence in that team to come up with a proposal that is feasible. Related has significant access to its own capital, and that is something that matters in this environment. So I don't know, Sarah, if there's anything else you would want to mention, but what you're getting at really is the reason that it's so valuable for us to have a development partner who's looking at this.
Yeah.
Because I think we're going to hear in January 2024 from them whether or not they feel like there is a path forward. And I think we're cautiously optimistic, but we are having very clear-eyed conversations around what that might entail.
I want to pause and say, first of all, thank you for how adaptive you've been in this process. I think you're at another turning point with the leadership of Commissioner Rubio and your two offices, or your two bureaus, Office Bureau. It's really an exciting opportunity to reimagine what this could look like from the beginning phase, which I know had a hiatus, and now you're persistent and patient, and you're bringing it back. I'll be attached, in addition to the LID process, what the creative dialogue is like about how we're reimagining what workspaces can look like. I really am a big advocate for in-person working, as you know, because I think performance and impact and quality and everything goes up, and it's also really good for the soul to connect with people live and in person. And I think that more and more people are striving to have that at least a few days a week. It's just a different architectural design, perhaps. So who's at the table that's helping us get creative? And I want to pause on something. In the 70s, this city was in bad shape. Not like it is today, because we don't have the same level of drug crisis that we're facing today. But it took private and public to come together and be bold. And we are in the tank right now. So we have nothing to lose but to try to be bold. And so I want to hear what those creative dialogues are like, what that architecture looked like, what the design looks like, because that picture was beautiful. That picture is not going to be imagined unless we also have people working down there that are getting paid market level jobs. And if this city doesn't start bringing in some capital, we're for a really grim reality over the next 10 years. So I just want to keep hearing about what those conversations are like.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thanks.
Great. Any more questions from council? Do we have anybody signed up to testify?
We have one person who signed up. Darla Sturdy was planning to join us in person.
Hi, my name is Diane Meisenhelter, and we've brought this global climate clock to remind Council that early this Saturday morning we will tick down into the 5-year realm as the time scientists estimate, signifying the loss of the global climate budget's best chance to limit warming to 1.5 degrees centigrade benchmark.
Excuse me, ma'am.
I'm going to talk.
Okay, is this,
Wait for it. It's totally related to
Okay.
this, okay? And you'll be happy. For once, we're not criticizing, we're rejoicing, okay? So if we haven't halved emissions, there will be likely unthinkable acceleration of tipping points that will endanger millions of persons and species on Earth. With this short time frame always in mind, we must do as much as possible to reduce emissions. We must act in time, and this week, people around the world are sending messages to leaders that we must do this. That said, XRPDX read with interest the planned development of the old post office site and are pleased to see some of the thoughtful climate justice elements going into this project, which hopefully can become the norm for future development. Although I'd say the overall timeline for build shift must be accelerated. We applaud community input processes, public and multimodal transit orientations, 72 units of affordable housing for below 60% AMI, and I'm glad to hear this morning a set aside for below 30% HUD subsidized units as well. We support the anticipated community benefits agreement and workforce equity policies and electrification and renewable energy and environmental design features. Although the commercial exemption is disappointing, as Top Chefs and my own reluctant but overwhelmingly positive experience with induction stoves and ovens can certify. With few details, few details, we hopefully celebrate the green space and tree canopy shade equity considerations. And I'd also like to appreciate the 606 item on today's agenda, allocating funds for tree planting and maintenance, although we also need protections in place for the city's large giant trees and changes in the pay-to-slay model as the sequestration timeline suggests. We appreciate these beginnings and urge leaders to do more faster as our existential crisis demands. We should not sacrifice climate justice protections for development, even for affordable housing, which I personally worked on for years, and it's desperately needed. This project will hopefully prove as a model serving our future. The solutions we need exist, and the next 5 years represent our best chance. It's our window of hope. we cannot waste it.
Thank you.
Thanks for this good work.
Keelan, anyone else?
That's it. Darla Sturdy? No. Yeah, that completes testimony.
Okay. Since this is a first reading, the item will be moved on to a second reading. So thank you, everyone. Can you please read the next item, Keelan?
Item 598, proclaim July 19, 2023 to be Fire Chief Sarah Boone Day of Appreciation.
Commissioner Gonzalez.
Thank you, Commissioner Rubio. Before we get started, I wanted to let everyone know that there was a four-alarm fire in Northeast Portland today that was just contained and handled by some of our fire bureaus. So we certainly appreciate their work, but they're not all going to be here today. So with that, we're going to turn over the bagpipes. Cue left. Yeah.
Or do we stand up?
Well, I'll continue. Again, we're a wonderful day today. We are going to be a little bit shorthanded on the fire side as they're recovering from responding to a four-alarm fire in Northeast Portland. But today we have the distinct pleasure of recognizing a long-serving public servant to this community. It is my honor and great privilege to recognize the 28-year career of Fire Chief Sarah Boone as she retires this month. Chief Boone began her career in the Fire Bureau as a line firefighter with Portland Fire and Rescue in 1995, as the first African-American female firefighter to join the Bureau. Working her way up the ranks, she became fire chief in 2019, and during her tenure, Chief Boone led PF&R through the global COVID pandemic, civil unrest, and then from record-breaking wildfires to the humanitarian crisis among our unhoused population today. Under Chief Boone's leadership, the Bureau also launched the Community Health and Assess and Treat Team, CHAT. It's a pilot program. Making history as Portland's first African-American female fire chief, she has steered our Fire Bureau through the most difficult moments in living memory with grace, with fortitude, with honor. Chief Boone, thank you for your service. I know it hasn't always been easy. You've had to make a lot of tough decisions. You've had to stand strong in very difficult situations, but the Bureau is better because of it. I want to take this time now to extend my gratitude for your years of sacrifice and selfless commitment to not just Portland Fire and Rescue, but to the whole city. With that, Director Kazi.
Good morning. I'm Bob Causey, Director of the Bureau of Emergency Communications. And thank you for this opportunity to publicly express my appreciation for Chief Boone. Chief Boone has proven herself to be a visionary leader within public safety. She leads through compassion with an intent to deeply understand and help solve problems. She consistently demonstrates appreciation for the work of our 911 call takers and dispatchers at the Bureau of Emergency Communications, oftentimes calling, texting, or emailing me right in the moment. Chief Boone is also an example of objectivity and open-mindedness, and her demeanor is kind and welcoming to everyone, regardless of their belief structure or background. Congratulations on your retirement, Chief. You will be greatly missed, and I most certainly will miss our collaboration and sometimes lengthy, but deep and meaningful conversations. Thank you for being a friend.
Thank you.
Thank you for that, Director Kazi. I'm Chuck Lavelle. I'm Chief of the Portland Police Bureau, and I'm honored to be here today to celebrate my friend, Sarah Boone. As many of you know, anyone who's worked around Chief Boone, anyone who's been around her knows that she leads with her heart. She comes to this work with compassion and grace, and it's that compassion and grace that got us through some very difficult times in this city over the past 3 years that I've been chief. Her ability to connect with community and make a uniform melt away is uncanny. I can remember many times where I was having a tough time. Chief Boone was there. She'd pick up the phone, check in on me, make sure I was doing okay. And I remember thinking that I was so blessed to have a leader like that I could lean on as I began my journey as chief. So Chief Boone, on behalf of the Portland Police Bureau and me, you're a pioneer, you're a first, you're a servant leader, and most of all to me, you are a friend. We wish you Godspeed in whatever's next.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Chief Lavelle. Good morning. My name is Ryan Gillespie, and I'm the interim fire chief for Portland Fire and Rescue. I'm honored to be here today to celebrate Fire Chief Sarah Boone. First of all, I want to thank Chief Boone for her amazing leadership, service, and sacrifice. The City of Portland and our fire department have been blessed to have you as our fire chief this past 4 years. When you were sworn in August of 2019, none of us could have imagined the challenges we were going to face. You tackled these head on with your constant North Star of service to our community and the health and wellness of our employees in mind. I feel extremely fortunate to have been one member of your executive team, and I could not have asked for a better leader and person to guide us through these times. I am humbled and honored to be selected as the interim fire chief for Portland Fire and Rescue. Thank you, Commissioner Gonzalez, for placing your trust and faith in me to guide our organization as our city transitions to a new form of government and as we continue to face the challenges before us. We are an organization made up of incredibly dedicated, highly trained people who sacrifice every day to provide our service to the community. Our team is at the heart of what we do, and their contributions, expertise, and unique perspectives are invaluable assets to PF&R. I am committed to carrying on Chief Boone's legacy by serving our community and supporting our workforce in my role as interim fire chief. To close, I have immense gratitude for Chief Boone. I want to wish her congratulations on her well-deserved retirement.
Thank you. Oh.
Thank you. I will pass it back to City Council.
Great. My colleague?
Number one, thank you. Thanks to everybody who showed up today for this very special and in many ways bittersweet day. I should also say this item could not be more timely. You know, we woke up today to the news that there is a significant fire over at the Kmart site at 122nd. I know a lot of people who'd like to be here today couldn't because of the work that is still undergoing out there. And the fact that we have a crisis playing out in real time is both typical of Portland and a reminder that the Fire Bureau's work literally never stops. Which is among the many reasons why I am delighted to join this council and this city in proclaiming July 19th, 2023 to be Fire Chief Sarah Boone Day of Appreciation. This opportunity, or this proclamation, gives us an opportunity to thank a true Portland trailblazer for her service to our city and for her friendship to each and every one of us. Now, as we all know, Chief Boone has led a remarkable career. She led the Fire Bureau through a pandemic. She helped stand up Portland Street Response, and she helped establish the CHAT program, which is designed to address the non-emergency medical needs of our most vulnerable and marginalized neighbors. But Chief Boone's accomplishments do not stop there. Colleagues, Portland's Fire Bureau was established in 1883. And for the first 112 years of our Bureau's history, no Black women served as firefighters here in Portland. Now, that changed in 1995 when Sarah Boone became the first African-American female firefighter to join the Fire Bureau. During her career, Boone rose through the Fire Bureau's ranks, first as an entry-level firefighter. Then she worked in emergency operations. From there, she was promoted to the Bureau's safety chief. Then she was promoted to logistics deputy chief, and then Division Chief of Medical Services and Training. And in 2019, Chief Boone was appointed Chief of Portland's Fire Department. Now, colleagues, that is a remarkable resume. And what I'd like to do now is place that resume into perspective. I'm not sure how many Black women have served as fire chiefs in the United States, but I have done some research into the question. It looks like the chief knows has an answer here. By my count, I believe that Chief Boone is probably among the first 10 Black women who have served as a fire chief. And to put that into perspective, you know, the United States has been a nation for 247 years. Today, there are more than 29,000 fire departments in the United States. And today, we have seen still fewer than like a dozen Black women to serve in the role that Chief Boone has occupied for us. Colleagues, you know, if you were to crunch those numbers, you will find that the odds of this council and the people in this room serving alongside a public servant as distinguished as Chief Boone approach 1 in a million. We are very, very lucky to have the honor of enjoying Chief Boone's leadership and her friendship. She will be missed, which is among many reasons I am delighted to join this council in proclaiming July 19th, 2023 to be Fire Chief Sarah Boone Day of Appreciation. Thank you so much, Chief Boone. We truly appreciate and love you. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Commissioner Ryan.
Yes. Good morning, Chief Boone. It's such an honor to be present with you this morning to celebrate the amazing person that you are. And I do mean present because you're always so present. That's something I experienced from you instantly. I just want to mention that I think Professor Mapps went into all the details, and I don't need to do that. It's always good to follow you, Commissioner Mapps, because of that. But I just can only imagine what it was like to break all those glass ceilings. And I know that you did it with heart, and you did it with that presence. And I love that you've always been you. It's your authentic self shows up. So it wasn't like you had to try to be like traditional fire chiefs before you. You just kept being Sarah Boone. And I want to also acknowledge that the first time I knew of your existence was the night of the riots that was the beginning of the horrific, gruesome murder of George Floyd. And I couldn't be the only household that tuned in. And there were some great speakers, don't get me wrong, but when you got up to the podium, I instantly felt better. I felt seen. I knew that we were in good hands. And my spouse looked at me and said, "Who is that?" And I go, "Well, that's the fire chief, Sarah Boone, and I can't wait to work with her." And of course, I didn't know if I'd get the chance to work with you. And then once I got here, every encounter was crisp and clear, like you got to business and we got it taken care of. But you always worked in a personal moment, and you would remember something from the last conversation. So it was so refreshing. Then when I was working on the children's levy and I called you and you were really busy and you still got a quote into the deadline for the voters pamphlet and you knew that it was your duty to be there for the children. So it's that type of servant leadership that carries you as far as it has, and I know that your next chapter you'll always carry that same servant leadership forward. And like everyone said, with working with you, it's easy to slip into saying, "You're my friend, Sarah Boone," and you've been one amazing Chief of the Fire Bureau. Thank you so much for your service.
Well, so much has been said already, but I just want you to know, Chief, how much I admire you. I admire you so much, and I'm really sad that you're leaving the city, but I'm also very happy for you to take a well-deserved time for yourself and for your next adventure, whatever that is. I personally, I appreciated your advice, your example, our conversations, and especially as I was just starting out on my own leadership journey as a new commissioner to the City of Portland during a really challenging time for our city. And I also want to just acknowledge, that you were, as the people have said, you were the first in so many things, and being a woman of color in a position of leadership. And that's something we had talked about as well. It never comes easy, especially when you're the first to do so. It takes a special kind of courage and resiliency and character to be that kind of a trailblazer. And, your example for all of us who look up to you. You have the respect of everyone who knows you because of your authenticity, because of your integrity, and as many people said, your grace. But most of all, because of your deep love for the city and your heart for the city, and it shows in the work you do and how you carry yourself and how you lead your team. And your leadership has made a difference for the city, and we're all in a better place because of you. And I just want you to know that you've made a difference for Portland, and you've made a difference in my life by your example. So I just want to thank you so much for your service and for sharing your heart with our community.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's all you, Chief.
Back to you.
Anyone that knows me knows this is over the top. I'm somebody that likes to be in the shadows, in the background. But I just want to, in this chamber, as I'm sitting here, over the last couple of days, I was thinking over my career and stepping in the first apprenticeship program 28 years ago with a group of new hires. Many didn't know much about the fire service. But when we talk about being a team, they are lifelong friends. When we talk about being a family, the fire service is for a lifetime. So it has been an honor stepping through the front door, being in City Hall 28 years ago. I believe Mayor Katz at the time when the apprenticeship program started, and it was a fundamental belief, same thing, of how do we outreach to community? How do we show that this is a job and a profession that you can be proud of? That not only when you take the uniform off and go home, you still are of service to your neighbors, to your friends, to your community. That's how you build capacity. And I've been doing that every single day. The other thing that really touched my heart is that somebody that comes out of the social services, the California social service, I know how important social services are, how health and human services, and it was because of the social work that found a family that was the right family, and they were from Portland. And so as I grew up, I have always known it is within community that determines the success of a city, of a neighborhood, of a family. I always knew wherever I went, somebody was calling my mom, why isn't she home? Your daughter's over here. To the schools I went to, St. Francis of Assisi, that's across from Revolution Hall, but at the time, very liberal Catholic school, where we would close off the streets every so often for families to come together and celebrate, again, community, where we were instilled volunteer work and volunteerism. Sister of the Road Cafe, a lot of the homeless nonprofits we volunteered at. So very early on, service and sacrifice so others can live was instilled from the very beginning. That school today, the playground that I used to play in with kids, obviously condos and apartments now. The schoolhouse is being torn down and will be developed, but the church and soup kitchen is still there to serve. When I look at the high school, I know some of my friends are working in the city that went to the alma mater, Lincoln High School. And then I will say, working in the city, when people say appreciation for Sarah Boone, it is my appreciation for everybody I've met over the 28 years that serves in government, serves in nonprofit, and dedicates their life to making somebody's day just a little bit better. Each and every one of you, no matter the uniform you put on, no matter the bureau you serve, and I've really noticed that in the last 4 years, when this city faces its darkest days and its greatest challenges, we find a way to come together. We find a way to find the best of us. And that intersection of service is first and foremost. And I know you guys take a lot of heat, but I know your hearts. I know your intentions. I hate when I have to come before you, but I just know that you're here and putting your best foot forward. And for that, I am thankful that you have entrusted the largest fire department in the state when the bell sounds that we are ready. And I also want to say to my Fire Bureau family, when I have lost my way or leadership goes in a different direction, they always reflect back what the heart and soul of what we do every single day, that they risk their lives, and it is our job to ensure that they are protected and they have the tools and equipment to perform at their best. Their families sacrifice, they sacrifice, not only in police, fire, dispatch, but we also know with alternative response, that same dedication and passion, they need the tools and resources to be successful. So the future will be bright. The right people are here. And again, it has been an honor every single day. So thank you, and I can't wait to see what the city of Portland does, because it should be leading the nation when it comes to recovery. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thanks so much, Chief Boone. You know, for those listening, I think you feel Chief Boone's humility. She didn't want to do this. The fire commissioner insisted upon it, both to honor her unique place in Portland's history and to honor the Bureau she loves so much. So this is a celebration of Chief Boone. It is a celebration of the Fire Bureau that protects us every single day. You know, when you get to know Chief Boone, she absolutely speaks from the heart. Sometimes she goes long, and we sometimes my team is like, well, we got to pull her back, but she's going to go long. And I was like, you know what? I am surrounded by super calculating, keeping it close to the vest, very methodical politicians and civil servants. And I say that without judgment. It's just the way you get up in the world, and sometimes you have to keep it close to keep your cards close. And every time I hear Chief Boone talk, I learn something. The authenticity comes across, and it's like, I think Portland needs more of that. I think our community needs more, not less. And with that, I am going to read our proclamation. I am going to use Mayor Wheeler's voice, so you'll hear me say, I had Wheeler at some point in this in his stead. Whereas Fire Chief Sarah Boone is a Portland native who grew up in Northeast Portland and is a 28-year veteran of Portland Fire and Rescue. And whereas Chief Boone in 1995 became the first African-American female firefighter to enter the ranks of Portland Fire and Rescue since its inception in 1883. And whereas during her years as a firefighter, Chief Boone was promoted up the ranks in emergency operations, holding positions as lieutenant, captain, staff captain, battalion chief, bureau safety chief, deputy chief of logistics, division chief of medical services and training. And whereas in 2019, Chief Boone became the first African-American fire chief in the history of Portland Fire and Rescue and led the Bureau through some of the most difficult and challenging times in recent memory, beginning with the unprecedented global COVID-19 pandemic. And whereas at the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic, Chief Boone partnered with Multnomah County to provide targeted COVID-19 testing and mobile vaccinations, and created Portland Spire's Meds on Wheels outreach program to offer prescription pickups and delivery to individuals who were unable to leave their homes because of exposure, but were in desperate need of life-sustaining medications. Whereas Chief Boone developed innovative preventative community health programs with their Community Health Assess and Treat chat program that is specifically designed to address the non-emergency medical needs of some of the city's most vulnerable and marginalized populations. And whereas Chief Boone's vision for chat has positioned the program to build on its success as an alternative response model that can reduce calls to 911, reduce emergency department visits, and ultimately reduce costs to the overall healthcare system. And whereas throughout her career, Chief Boone has remained heavily involved in community service, outreach, and education, and is deeply respected by her colleagues, and is considered a collaborative and team-oriented leader who champions the selfless service of others. And whereas Chief Boone has demonstrated an exemplary commitment to the city of Portland and to Portlanders, and has modeled true public service throughout her career. And whereas the lives of many Portlanders and city employees have been enriched by her work, vision, and leadership. Now, therefore, I, Ted Wheeler, Mayor of the City of Portland, Oregon, the City of Roses, do hereby proclaim on behalf of the whole council, July 19th, 2023, to be Fire Chief Sarah Boone Day of Appreciation in Portland, and can encourage all Portlanders to observe this day. Thank you.
To say one more thing. I would not be here without Commissioner Joanne Hardesty. I feel like we are linked, and she is somebody that has given me an opportunity through the hardest of times. And as we pass the torch to this excellent team, I just want to honor her for stepping forward and taking a chance. Thank you.
Keelan, can we take a quick 5-minute break until 11? Okay, we're gonna start. We're gonna start and continue with the agenda. Keelan, can you please call the next thing?
Totally what this is for.
Yeah.
Oh, there's nothing to
Should we just like?
Yeah, so, or, you're the chief.
Okay.
Item 599,
Hey, Rick.
appoint and reappoint members to the Portland Parks and Recreation Board.
Great, Commissioner Ryan. $599.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, welcome back. Do I have anyone here from Parks that's going to introduce this item? Oh, hello, Director Long. If you'd go ahead and come up to the... I don't have a speaker, though. Oh, okay. I didn't have anything that's... I said I was introducing someone from the Parks. Why don't I just wing it, since that's what I'm doing at this moment, since there's no one coming up. I had the pleasure, actually, last week, was it last week? Yeah, on the 11th, to go to the Parks Board meeting out at Charles Jordan Parks and Recreation Center. And I think what was so fascinating to me is that some of the people we're going to introduce now who are joining the board, they're already hitting the ground running. They are all so engaged and active and in all of the important strategic elements of what you would want a board at that visionary level to be focused on. And so it's my pleasure then to go ahead and introduce. There's no one here from Parks, so I hope I have all the names right. In my script here, I have last names. Let's see, I have first names. So, Director Long, do you have all the people who are? I thought that you had. No, it's okay. I don't, and it's all right. We're going through this right now, and here's the point. I see two people. If you could both come up, that would be lovely. And I want to acknowledge the roles that they all play in our form of government that we currently have, and I think this will be sustained. We have the pleasure of having volunteers step up who provide that insight, that community insight that's really necessary to move all the strategic initiatives forward. And we also have a rotation, so there's term limits. And first I want to acknowledge the outgoing members, and their names are Paul, Mike, Alejandro, and I don't have their last names in front of me, but I want to thank them for their service. So let's hear it for the outgoing members. And the new appointments for their first full terms of service. We have Jonathan Beckhart, we have Patty Miles, Matt Shipke, Allie Berman, Adam Lewis, C.N.E. Corbin, and David Stashik. How do I pronounce that? Okay. And those are all the new people coming in and some renewing terms. But who we have at the moment, I know I have C.N.E. up at the podium, and you are the incoming chair of the Parks Board. And so I'd like to turn this over to you to say a few words.
Thank you, Commissioner Ryan, and good morning, commissioners. For the record, I am Dr. C.N.E. Corbin, Chair of Portland Parks and Recreation Board. And who is with me is my vice/co-chair. She's still warming up to that idea, Alana Pirtle Guinea. Did I say that right? Thank you. As Commissioner Ryan stated, there was interest in our advisory board this year. There were many exceptional candidates, and we're excited to recommend for appointment 3 members that add skill and experiences that help the board better reflect the makeup of our city. Jonathan Beckhart, is the Capital Campaign Officer of Northwest Outward Bound School. Before joining NWOBS, he was a member of the Community Engagement Team at the City of Eugene's Parks and Open Space Division, managing resource development, partnerships, and park foundation relations. We also have our new member, Patty Miles, a project manager for Walsh Construction Company /OR, working on affordable housing, nonprofit construction projects, and business development. A native Portlander who grew up in the Beaumont Village neighborhood. In her youth, she was an active participant in Portland Parks and Recreation summer programs held at Wilshire, Grant Park, and Matt Dishman Community Center. And last but not least, we have Matt Shipke and Land Legacy Program Manager for the East Maloma Water and Soil Conservation District. These appointments will replace one member of the board with a term ending in June 30th of 2022, and one member who has resigned prior to the term completion. For current members of the board, Ali Berman, Adam Lewis, David Stakzek, and myself are due for reappointment with terms ending June 30th of 2026. David Stakzek will be serving his second full term. Ali Berman, Adam Lewis, and myself will be serving our first full term after the completion of serving partial terms in the previous year. I know that this board advocacy and collaboration will be important for the success of an equitable and sustainable future for parks. And on behalf of myself, the board, and Portland Parks and Recreation, we're looking forward to welcoming these community members joining the board. I understand that Portland Parks and Recreation has submitted a report for these appointments and reappointments for your consideration, and I strongly encourage all of you to support and approve. So thank you. And if you have any questions, my co-chair actually headed the nominating committee, and she can answer any questions regarding the nominations. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
Say a few words.
Absolutely. Thank you, Commissioner Ryan, commissioners. My name is Ilana Pertolgini. I am the Vice Chair of the Portland Parks and Recreation Board, and I oversaw the nomination process for these new members. We had a number of qualified applicants. We ended up reviewing 18 applications, chose 6 applicants who we felt might be highly strong members, I'll say strong members of the board moving forward, and interviewed those 6 members. And our interview panel came away with a clear recommendation for the top 3 candidates whose names are before you today. We hope that you'll move them forward. As we look at the experiences, backgrounds, and skills that our board members bring forward, we believe that they all help to make our board a more well-rounded board, a board that can be of better service to you all and to the Bureau staff and director, and we look forward to serving with them moving forward.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate both you being here in person. And again, it was such a delight to be at your most recent meeting. I was so impressed with the depth of skill sets that were at the table and how you, CNE, were able to really welcome all of those points of view. I remember there were a time where it felt like the agenda was behind, and then we got to topics where there could be engagement and voice, and everyone jumped in. I also really appreciated that you had your meeting out in community, and I think that's one of the leadership traits that I noticed about you in particular, and you as co-chairs. And so I really look forward to coming to more of your meetings. And again, thanks for being here. Is there any questions? And then we can go to the motion to approve all these nominations.
So no questions.
I move that we accept the nominations for service to the Portland Parks and Recreation Board.
Okay, there's a motion to accept the nominations. Can we get a second?
Second.
Commissioner Mapp seconds. Can we call the roll?
Gonzalez.
Aye.
Capps.
I want to thank these volunteers for agreeing to serve on this important committee. I vote aye.
Ryan.
Yes, again, thanks again. I want to acknowledge that the new member, Adam, he's responsible for bringing the Women's Cup watch party to Pioneer Square. And I hear big numbers of spectators are anticipated. So that's a great example where you had some amazing applicants, and it must have been a challenging decision. So I vote aye.
Rubio.
Thanks so much for your service and for agreeing to serve, and congratulations to all the new appointees. I vote aye.
Madam President, I think, is it okay that we just did all of them together? So that was both those renewing their term and the new people, correct?
Yes,
All
that's
right,
fine.
perfect. Just want to make sure.
All right, congratulations, everyone.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, and we look forward to having you at our future meetings.
Yeah, it was, trust me, it was one of the better meetings I've been to in a long time.
I'm glad to hear that.
All right. Keelan, can you call the next item?
Item 607, Ratify a successor collective bargaining agreement between the city and the Portland Firefighters Association relating to the terms and conditions of employment of represented employees in the Portland Firefighters Association bargaining unit for 2023 through 2027.
Madam Presiding Officer, a clarification, did we do 606?
That's a consent agenda item.
Oh, okay. Thank you for that clarification.
So maybe I should have announced we're going into the regular agenda. I forgot to say that.
I messed up.
All right, thanks. The city and the Portland Firefighters Association are parties to a collective bargaining agreement effective July 1, 2019 to June 30, 2023. The parties utilize the interest-based bargaining process to exchange ideas using a collaborative approach to reach a tentative agreement prior to the expiration of the CBA, which has been unprecedented in recent negotiations. While negotiating, the shared interest of the parties was to enhance safety, the health and well-being of employees, and remain competitive in the job market. With us today are Labor Relations Coordinator Anne-Marie Kevorkian, Maddie, and Chief Ryan Gillespie from Fire and Rescue to walk us through the ordinance.
Good morning, Council. Again, I'm Anne-Marie Kevorkian-Maddie. I'm joined to my left by Chief Ryan Gillespie and to my right by Labor Coordinator Kim Fouts. I am so pleased to bring this ordinance forward to you today. This is the successor agreement between the city and the Portland Firefighters Association. A great accomplishment for both parties to reach agreement in advance of the expiration of their collective bargaining agreement, and through the use of the interest-based bargaining process, a process which honors the interests of each party and gives us the possibility to remove positional arguments and instead approach complex labor and management issues through a collaborative approach. I just can't highlight that enough. But first, just a couple of appreciations before I get into the details of the ordinance. I'd like to thank the respective bargaining teams for all of their time, effort, energy, and work that went into this agreement. We started off on very different sides of the table, and we found commonality through the process, which allowed us to reach an agreement that meets the needs of both parties and honors the driving themes of these negotiations. Particularly, thanks to Chief Gillespie and our fire management team for their strong advocacy and ability to listen and hear the needs of the fire union team. And for thanks to the Portland Firefighters Association for their willingness to trust in the interest-based bargaining process, being great partners as part of this process, and likewise listening to the management team about the needs of the Bureau as well. Thank you to Council for your support as we move through negotiations and for your commitment to invest in this contract for our first responders. An incredibly important, partner for us. Obviously, today, the fourth alarm fire shows the complexity of their work. So just a few highlights. So while negotiating the shared interests, while negotiating, we had a few shared interests. That was to enhance safety, health and well-being of our employees, and maintain competitiveness in the job market. This tentative agreement provides those benefits and also allows us to address the unique health challenges firefighters face while working in the field. The parties also clarified retire rehire program language, providing access to all members, and increased several premiums, including the coaching pay, to strengthen the training program and improve recruitment and retention. And in addition, we agreed to provide across-the-board wage increases in each year of the collective bargaining agreement. And in exchange for that, the union agreed to add annual performance evaluation language and an accountability rubric to the contract, a very, very significant add for the Bureau. This agreement further meets the city's bargaining interest by securing a 4-year labor agreement. It includes the memorialization of a mandatory callback policy, the 1323 suppression schedule for emergency operations personnel, new and ongoing funding specific for health and wellness initiatives, as well as a behavioral health coordinator, and again, wage adjustments and an increase to the entry rate of pay for firefighters to address market concerns. Beyond that, safety and staffing language, premium pay for working certain holidays, a reduction of steps for firefighter and lieutenant classifications that allow employees an opportunity to reach the top of scale sooner, and many other language changes that improve the collective bargaining agreement through clarity or added benefits. The total recurring cost for this contract is $8.1 million in ongoing costs in the fourth and final year of the contract. So we would ask the council authorize not only the contract itself, but also direct the city budget office to make one-time funding available to Portland Fire and Rescue Bureau for fiscal year 23-24, the increased costs, and I can have those for you here in a moment, and then also to direct the city budget office to increase the current appropriation levels of Portland Fire and Rescue Bureau in fiscal year 24-25, 25-26, and 26-27 by the agreed to costs in this collective agreement. I'm happy to answer any questions or leave questions to
Colleagues,
Chief
any
Gillespie.
questions? No questions? Do we have any
I might-
testimony?
I might put one on the record.
Okay.
I'll reiterate this later, but great job collectively on this. In terms of accountability rubric, matrix, how many other fire bureaus in the country are we aware of that have such a, this level of accountability specified in a contract?
I'm not aware of any other collective bargaining agreements that actually codify an accountability rubric such as this for a fire contract.
It's a significant movement. We've seen this addressed on the police side, but this is from a city perspective, from a management perspective, a big win. I very much appreciate our labor partners' willingness to consider it and negotiate with good faith. I'll have some other comments in the conclusionary, but just wanted to call that out. And Chief Ryan.
Commissioner, I just would like to put a couple things on the record here as well, some gratitude more than anything. Again, I'm Ryan Gillespie, Interim Fire Chief for Portland Fire and Rescue. Today, we bring to you this tentative agreement between the City of Portland and PFFA. I want to thank the Bureau of Human Resources Labor Relations Coordinator, Anne-Marie Kevorkian-Maddie, and her team. They were integral in this process. Anne-Marie, as the chief negotiator, led us through this. Just an amazing group of people, an amazing team to drive this forward for the city. I also want to recognize Janet Gilman, state conciliator from the Oregon Employment Relations Board. She guided us through this interest-based bargaining process, which was new to all of us. Finally, to our labor partners at PFFA, led by President Isaac McLennan, thank you for your partnership and your communication as we collaboratively work through the IBB process. What we bring to you today is a tentative agreement that honors the interests of both the city and PFFA, brought about through an efficient and effective bargaining process. Thank you for considering this today.
Thank you. Do we have any testifiers?
We have one person signed up, Isaac McLennan. I believe they were planning to join us online.
Yes, hi, good morning. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Isaac.
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Yes, well, good morning, Madam President Rubio and Council. And I just wanted to say a couple things before I get going. You know, in regards to Fire Chief Sarah Boone, I've got the pleasure to work with her for 21 years, and I'm very thankful that this Day of Appreciation was created in her honor, so I appreciate that. On to the topic at hand, I just want to say, first and foremost, there's no way this process of interest-based bargaining happens without everyone coming to the table, not just City Council, not just management, not just labor relations, the city attorneys, but the members of Local 43, well over 700 members. This really is at all hands to get something like this go, especially in nowadays when you see such labor strife, not only in the city of Portland or in Multnomah County or in the state of Oregon or even nationwide. The fact that we were able to collaboratively come together and really listen to each other's interests about how we're going to move the Fire Bureau forward through the labor contract, really want to paint the picture about how that gets done. And first and foremost, it does not get done without the work of Anne-Marie Kevorkian-Maddie. I mean, she was a tireless worker. She came to the table immediately, unapologetically, transparent, and that was really the way that we were able to move forward. It was a foundation built on trust. We had to trust each other, and she showed right off the bat that she could be trusted, and she was willing to put her skills, talents, and energies on the table to not only benefit the city, but also benefit the union. And so I just want to say special appreciation to her and the entire management team, and for all you on City Council for really giving us what we needed to get this deal done. So with that, that's all I have, and I appreciate my time.
Thank you so much.
That completes testimony.
Okay, wonderful. So this is an emergency ordinance, so if there is no other discussion to be had, Keelan, will you please call the roll?
Gonzalez.
I just want to emphasize what a tremendous win this is, both for the city and for labor, to affirmatively resolve a successor contract prior to expiration of the existing agreement. It's almost unheard of in public safety bureaus. This was resolved in June. We had to get the voting through in July, but just a collective round of applause, really. I would like to thank our HR partners. Anne Marie drove this process forward, fire leadership, PFF&A. I just want to reiterate their partnership here in protecting not only the city of Portland, but providing a fantastic work environment and improving work environment for those who protect the city. Do want to emphasize a couple of pieces. The accountability rubric, that is a big win. This is somewhat new ground, so very, very appreciative of everyone involved in that. The health and wellness investments in firefighters who will sometimes pay for their service 20 years from now. And so making intelligent investments now is fair and the right thing to do as a city. The wage adjustments, particularly for entry level, we were really out of market and for entry level firefighters in a time where we are competing badly for personnel when we're facing a retirement cliff very, very soon in Portland Fire, and frankly are making up for some years of underinvestment in the pipeline. It is an important investment. So I wholeheartedly support this. I want to appreciate my colleagues for making dollars available for it. I vote aye.
Maps.
I want to thank everyone for today's presentation. I am so glad to see this contract come forward. This council was involved in supporting the negotiation teams here. I think we have a really good contract that is going to actually make the department much, much better. I also want to congratulate and thank everybody for participating in interest-based bargaining. It works so well here, and I hope everybody who sits down at a labor negotiations table at least takes a look at interest-based bargaining and the experience we had at this space. I think something really special happened to get us to where we are today. And on a separate but related note, which I will direct to my colleagues on council, I want to register my concern about rising labor costs in the city. I think this is a good contract. However, when I sort of do my math looking forward, it's going to be a challenge to pay our bills moving forward. I think we have already crossed the Rubicon in terms of having to make some tough choices, and those tough budget choices will be coming not in the distant future, but I would expect in the fast approaching fall. But with that caveat, I am more than glad to vote aye.
Ryan.
Yes, first of all, thank you, Commissioner Gonzalez, for bringing at least my office along through this journey, Anne Marie, and leadership. Isaac, it was really great to hear you say everyone came to the table, over 700 members, and it really does feel like an all-in effort here. I hope this really does, not just that we're offering something that can help with recruitment, but I hope this is a moment where you can all feel seen, where you know we really appreciate you, and we know that we always want to have the best fire bureau in the nation. And I hope this really gives some momentum to the culture that is so deep and honorable at the fire. I vote aye.
Rubio.
I just want to join my colleagues in congratulating you. Well done. Great job. Excellent work, Anne Marie, as usual. Really appreciate your leadership and your thoroughness, and for you and your team and everybody for staying at the table through this very collaborative approach. It's a solid agreement. It's good for firefighters and it's good for Portland. So happy to vote aye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 608, amend Police Review Board Code to refine procedures for Police Review Board hearings and other process changes.
Colleagues, this item amends Police Review Board Code to refine procedures for the review board hearings and other process changes, and the primary goal is to provide flexibility for facilitation during police review boards to avoid delaying disciplinary cases, and also update some language in the ordinance. So I'll now turn it over to Heidi Brown, Chief Deputy City Attorney, and Lisa Rogers, and Deputy Chief Mike Frome to present this item. Or is it just Heidi today?
Good morning still, right? Good morning, Commissioner Rubio, Council. Good to see you all today. Actually, Assistant Chief Bell is here from the Bureau.
Okay.
This is the Bureau's agenda item to bring forward, and I'm here to answer any questions and to talk about any technical legal issues that I might be able to address. But with that, if you don't mind, I would turn it over to Assistant Chief Jeff Bell.
Good morning. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Perfect. Again, I'm Jeff Bell, and I am a last-minute stand-in here. So basically, yeah, with this, and I'm the Assistant Chief of Operations for the Portland Police Bureau. This ordinance proposes some changes to Portland City Code 3.20.14, which is the Police Review Board city code, and for the most part, it cleans up languages and has some small administrative changes, but the main change, as Commissioner Rubio alluded to, is the change to allow our review board coordinator to actually facilitate our police review boards. We have had a facilitator facilitating these boards, which is an outside contractor. We have a very good facilitator right now, but we only have one. They're currently unavailable for July and August. We have been through, I believe, 3 different RFP processes over the last couple of years and have been unable to get a qualified candidate to submit a proposal in order to do the facilitation. So these changes in allowing our review board coordinator to facilitate the police review board would allow us to hold timely disciplinary hearings, which is good for our accountability system and also good for our compliance with the Department of Justice settlement agreement. Unless you have any questions for me, I'm going to turn it over to Heidi for just any additional information she'd like to add.
Thank you, Jeff. One other thing that I'm aware of is that the Bureau had also reached out internally within the city as an organization, because current code language allows for somebody outside of the Police Bureau to be the facilitator. And again, although somebody had originally tried to fit it in, their workload became such that they were unable to take on this additional responsibility. So I certainly have seen the Police Bureau make numerous efforts to try to find a way within the existing code language to expand this. One thing we did to try to ensure that the person who would cover it would be, neutral is to include that language in the code to say that all PRB facilitators, which would include the internal Police Bureau discipline coordinator, be neutral and not be influenced in their work as facilitator, so that when there's that internal person, and it's just the one position, which is the discipline coordinator who kind of sets up the police review boards. She helps set up the due process meetings when there is a proposed discipline and things of that, and helps draft the letters and things of that nature. So she's not somebody who's supervising police officers or anything of that nature. So the Bureau tried to select somebody who would have the most neutrality in the process to serve in that role, and that's the only person that was listed as an option alternative to the outside facilitator or somebody outside of the Police Bureau. Other than that, as Assistant Chief Bell said, they're predominantly cleanup. I did want to, in case there were any concerns about on the first page where there's a change to allow the Bureau not to have a police review board only if when there's a disagreement between the folks that review investigations about what the outcome should be. There are 4 options they have, and one is sustained, and then the next is not sustained, and then there's exonerated and unfounded. And basically, not sustained and exonerated and unfounded are different ways, are umbrellaed under not sustained. So that change, if anybody says, no, it should be sustained when other people are saying not sustained, it will go to police review board. But the only difference would be if the disagreement between that review is between those forms of not sustained. So one person thinks it should be not sustained, person thinks it should be unfounded. In that instance, it will not have to go to the review board. It can just go through the normal process to determine what the final outcome should be. So that's the only other one I wanted to highlight because there could be some confusion maybe amongst the community and I wanted to be clear, we're not talking about a difference between a sustained finding and a not sustained finding. We're simply talking about differences between levels of not sustained. And with that, I don't know if council has any questions that either Assistant Chief Bell or I or Lisa Rogers from my office could answer.
Colleagues, any questions?
Public testimony.
There's 2.
No questions on council? Can we hear any testimony?
We have 2 people signed up. First up, we have Philip Chachka online.
Welcome.
Philip, you're muted.
Hello, my name's Philip Chachka. I'm a member of Portland Cop Watch. Thanks for having me today. Portland Cop Watch testified last June about several of the amendments proposed to the Police Review Board City Code. Some sweeping changes were added when the council was simply trying to address the fact that the auditor was no longer responsible for appointing PRB community members. The changes before you today show a more thoughtful, scaled back set of proposals. Here's what we see in some concerns. The largest change will allow the Police Review Board coordinator or other PPB employee to facilitate the PRB hearings instead of a person completely outside the police. Since the structure of the system continues to be weighted against civilians regardless of who facilitates, Portland Cop Watch is concerned, but feels there will not be much of a change in the meeting tone or outcome. Another issue, Portland Cop Watch regularly reads PRB reports and knows that there used to be at least 3 facilitators who rotated through the boards. The ordinance before you today indicates that the Bureau has only 1 facilitator and has trouble recruiting both within and outside the city. Perhaps the consultants were tired of participating in a process which locks out the people who alleged they were harmed by police, as well as the media and the general public, and which predominantly made up of police employees. The new code also limits whether PRBs will be held if internal affairs, IPR, or an assistant chief only wants to change a finding between exonerated, not sustained, and unfounded, but not proposing to sustain the complaint. This may save time and energy in convening boards, but the code should explain how the outcome will be decided when one of those parties controverts the commanding officer's original finding. The code also allows the chief to suspend holding of the review board if the officer quits, is fired, or retires before the board hears the case. Picks up again if the officer retires. Here's what we said about the idea last year. This makes no sense if the officer goes to another jurisdiction, and even less sense from the standpoint of evidence trail going stale in however long it is between their disappearance and reappearance. There are a number of terms and references that have been updated, some of which we suggested last year. There are a few outstanding issues, such as the DOJ agreement allows PRB to send cases back for further investigation, and this should be included in the code. Also, the fundamental problem of PRB allows officers, supervisors to make a decision on their own finding. This gives them 2 bites of the apple, and we'd prefer that to not be the case. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Demetria Hester. Demetria was planning to join in person. All right, I think that completes testimony.
Okay, thank you, Keelan. So this is an emergency ordinance. If there is no other discussion, then we will go ahead and call the roll.
Gonzalez.
Aye.
Maps.
Aye.
Ryan.
Aye.
Rubio.
Aye. Okay, ordinance passes. Thank you, Heidi. Okay, can we move on with the next item, please, Keelan?
Item 609, declare as surplus property a city-owned Cessna 172N and authorize the chief of police to proceed with a public sale of the property.
Colleagues, item 609 will allow OMF to sell the PPV plane in light of council's authorization for police to purchase a newer plane. So I'll now turn it over to Sergeant Brian Sweeney to present this item.
Hi, Brian Sweeney. I'm the Chief Pilot at Portland Police Bureau's Air Support Unit. Nice seeing all of you again. I met with you in February earlier this year and asked your permission to replace, not add to our current fleet. We're kind of at that position now where Commander Jovic has declared the plane as surplus material, and we would just like to sell it at this point. It's going to keep our maintenance costs down, storage costs, fuel and insurance will not increase our impact on the budget.
Great.
That's about it.
That's it? All right. Any questions, colleagues?
I have a quick one. When is the new plane already up in the air, or?
Yep. So we purchased a 2015 Cessna 182 to replace this 1978 172. We have it. The information to bid went out. A vendor was selected to put the police equipment on it, and so we're probably November-ish for having it operational.
So is there going to be a period when we don't have the capability to get in the air?
That always exists in my world. Yeah, and so just an example, the other day our landing light went out, and that was going to ground us until maintenance personnel came in on Monday to get it fixed. We were able to get it fixed, but we're just operational currently with one airplane.
Okay. Thank you very much. I'm excited to see the new equipment come online, and obviously I support liquidating equipment we don't need anymore. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. So I'm sorry, this is a quick question to Keelan. It's declared, so is it a first reading or is it we vote?
This is a first reading.
Okay. This is the first reading of the ordinance. Oh, did you have something to say?
Yes, I'd like to kind of go back to, I'm sorry, I should have mentioned this, but the fuel conversation we are having with folks in your office. And I just wanted to publicly say that we're still working on it. It sounds like there's been some movement that will, in the future, help us get to that point where we're using non-leaded fuel. So I just wanted to make a public comment about it, that we haven't forgotten about it, that we're still working on it and with folks from your office.
Great, thank you so much. I appreciate the update. All right, this is a first reading, so we will refer it to a future council meeting. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Next item, Keelan.
Item 610, authorize application and accept award funds for a hazard mitigation grant program grant for the Springwater Wetlands and Floodplain Restoration Project along Johnson Creek in Lentz and Powellhurst Gilbert neighborhoods not to exceed $7,100,000.
Commissioner Maps.
Thank you, Madam President. Colleagues, this item comes to us from the Bureau of Environmental Services. This ordinance authorizes the city to apply for a FEMA hazardous mitigation grant. If the city receives that grant, those funds will be used to support the city's Springwater Wetlands and Floodplain Restoration Project in the Lentz and Powell Gilbert neighborhoods. This project is important because Johnson Creek has flooded more than 40 times in the last 75 years. That flooding has damaged roads, homes, and businesses. If the city receives this grant, these funds will be used to restore approximately 35 acres of city-owned property. That restoration work we do on those 35 acres will reduce the frequency of flooding on nearby roads, in nearby homes, and of businesses. Here to tell us more about this important ordinance, we have Marielle Gesa-Toivel with Environmental Services. Welcome.
Thank you.
So for the record, Muriel Geisa-Teufel, I'm an engineering manager in the project management office at BS, generally overseeing large capital project delivery. So next slide, please. So if I say it shortly, this ordinance today is to ask for authorization to accept more free money from FEMA on this important project. So a little bit of so we'll go through brief project requirements, a little brief background on the project, and let you know about the project. Next slide. So the Lentz and Powerhouse Gilbert neighborhoods are located in a very unique geography. When we have large storms, they experience a very large flooding events, and it's been going on for decades. We also have old fill from the decades-old mid-county sewer projects that are in that area. And we have a lot of invasive species that are contaminating or taking over the wetlands. So this project, next slide, please. So the project objectives for BS are really relieve local flooding and enhance habitats, watershed health, but also we take this opportunity to partner with PBOT so that we can close the gap on a 1 mile trail section along the Springwater corridor. So we're trying to make good use of our resources in the two bureaus for that. Next slide, please. So a little geographic view of the project. On the map, you see the Springwater Corridor Trail across the map. In the dotted red line is the project area. South of that, you see previously restored floodplains that have been really successful. So we're working on this north end of the map on the slide. It represents about 30 acres of wetlands that would be enhanced. And you can see the habitat restoration area in orange and the proposed bike trail. Maybe it's hard to see, but it's in the purple line about in the middle of the property. So next slide, please. So here in this map, it really gives you a good visual of the improvements associated with flooding and flooding relief from this project. So in a 25-year event, so the area in orange shows the existing conditions when we have large storm events, so those are flooding, and the project would relieve that, where the blue shows the post-project conditions that would contain most of the flood waters within the BS property and the wetland areas. Next slide, please. So this ordinance today, we came here last year, about a year ago, to council to apply for a grant in the amount of $5.6 million. That represented 75% of our expected project costs. Since then, the Biden administration passed the Consolidated Appropriations Act, and it increased the share to 90%. So we're here today to ask for 7.1 to apply for 7.1 million cost share with, so 90% of the project cost share with FEMA. Next slide, please. As far as project schedule goes, we want to advertise for construction in August, so just around the corner. We anticipate FEMA decision in January 2024, and construction would start in March to take advantage of the dry summer season. Next slide. And I wanted to give you a heads up that we will shortly be here again. On August 2nd is our target with 2 other ordinances related to this project, so you will hear a little more about this project again. One will be for a professional services amendment, and the other one will be to authorize competitive bidding for construction. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. So this is a first reading? Okay, so we will move this on to second reading. Thank you for being here.
Thanks.
Oh, sorry. Is there questions? Are there questions by council?
No one signed up.
Sorry.
Muriel. Muriel. Thank you.
I really am impressed with the presentation. Of course, we don't want to leave, you said free money. Come on, council, don't be fools. We have something here for you.
Commissioner Ryan, I'm so sorry, we can't hear you. Yeah.
Okay. Hi, Muriel. It's really nice to see you. I love this conversation. And of course, we want to make sure that we leverage the money that is out there. And congratulations on the award for that grant. Here's my question. And I know Commissioner Maps and I talk about this a lot, Commissioner Maps, and that is that we can spend all this money on restoration, and then we know what's been going on in our city, and that is we have, unfortunately, unsanctioned camping and increasingly very toxic chemicals from the poisonous drugs that are an epidemic in our city and our state. And I know in parks, one of the people that does restoration work said you can do over a decade of work, and it just takes 3 months of destruction. And it's very sad. And you also see that big investment suddenly going away. So what are our plans to make sure that we have protections so that when we do these investments, we actually protect this land so it really is restored for the long term?
Right. We might have to return to you on the answer for that because
It's
it requires a
complex,
lot
and
of.
we're all in this
yeah, it
together.
requires-
So please know, this isn't a gotcha. It's just that we have to have eyes wide open when we accept these investments, and then when Portlanders witness and see the truth. And I'm kind of surprised sometimes the environmental concerns of the fentanyl crisis and unsanctioned camping doesn't get lifted more often, because it really is a grim issue facing our city.
Certainly it is an issue. We have talked on the capital side of things, if there should be fencing around these restored areas, but that adds a lot of costs, obviously. So it implies partnerships for the maintenance contracts and the monitoring of the projects.
If I can jump in here, Commissioner Ryan, thank you for asking this question. It's one which is top of mind for me, and I'll tell you the truth. One of the things on my agenda is to sit down with you in the next couple of days to talk about ways in which the city can work together to keep our green spaces safe.
Okay. I mean, it's our conversations we've been having for a couple of years.
Well,
So
there might be.
I just want to hear, like, what is the strategic plan? You know, I think it's, I don't want to sit here and continue to say yes to these investments and then go out in the real world and hear from people on the front line about what they're really experiencing.
Yeah, and I'll just put my cards on the table. Commissioner Ryan, we had a busy week, so we haven't had a chance to get to it. But in relationship to this ordinance and this project, one of the things I'd like to at least sit down and brainstorm with you about is maybe thinking about getting the park rangers, for example, involved in helping maintain and patrol this space. I don't know if that's the right solution. I know that I think you are correct in that we need to figure out our strategy for maintaining this and keeping it safe and clean. We have some resources that we can bring to the table. I also think, especially as we imagine new forms of government, there are other resources that can be brought to the table too.
We just want to make sure we're transparent and have our eyes wide open about this cycle that we're in. And I know that at Parks, it's something that the Rangers are focused on, and we will continue to have this dialogue. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay, any testimony?
No one signed up.
Okay.
Madam Chair, could we take a 5-minute break? I have a little bit of a coughing fit
Sure.
going on, so let me go and drink a cup of water. I'll be back, and the next couple of items are me.
Okay, great. We will take a 5-minute break, and we will move this on to second reading. Thanks. please.
Yes. Item 611, approve findings to authorize an exemption to the competitive bidding requirements with Penn Power Group LLC to rehabilitate the cogeneration system at the Columbia Boulevard wastewater treatment plant not to exceed $1,942,008.
Commissioner Mapps.
Thank you, Madam President. Colleagues, this item comes to us from the Bureau of Environmental Services. This ordinance authorizes the city to award a contract to Penn Power Group without competition. The purpose of this contract is to refurbish the existing cogeneration system at the wastewater treatment plant. BES uses that cogeneration system to capture methane and turn it into electricity and heat, which we use at the plant. Our current system is overdue for a tune-up and rebuild. Colleagues, for the most part, this is a pretty straightforward maintenance project. It's a good project. This machine or system of machines does some really amazing work, allows us to kind of capture energy from the wastewater treatment systems we use. The most notable thing about this ordinance is that a competitive bidding process cannot be used for this project because the parts we need for this rebuild are only available through the manufacturer and their authorized local representatives. Here to tell us more about this ordinance, we have Sandeep Kaur, an engineer with the Bureau of Environmental Services. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner and the Council. I am Bhargavi Ambadkar.
Sorry.
No worries. Engineering manager for the treatment and pumping systems at the treatment plant, Columbia Boulevard Wastewater Treatment Plant. We're here to seek authorization of sole source contract for the cogen rehab. And I'll hand it off to Sandeep Kaur, who's going to be doing the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Mapps and Bhargavi. We are here today to discuss the sole source authorization for the cogeneration system, also known as the cogen system. And our presentation outline is going to be, we're going to review the project background and scope, and then we'll also go over the ordinance. Just to help us orient ourselves, the cogen system is located at our Columbia Boulevard wastewater treatment facility. It's highlighted in green right here. It's an industrial process. And you're probably wondering what a cogen system does. It's also commonly known as a combined heat and power system. It's an engine that produces both electricity and heat. At the treatment plant, we utilize biogas generated on site to produce electricity and heat. This allows us to work towards our goal of 100% waste methane recovery. Methane is a greenhouse gas. So by utilizing the methane in our engines, we cut down on our climate changing emissions per year while producing beneficial electricity, power, and heat per plant. The cogen system has been in service since 2008 at our facility, and we have exceeded the manufacturer's recommendation for a major overhaul and rebuild by approximately 40,000 hours. And we see the need for this major rebuild as our system reliability has decreased and maintenance requirements have increased. For example, when our cogen system was operating at the prime, before the major rebuild was needed, we averaged about a 90% runtime per year from 2009 to 2015, and this correlates to about $1 million per year savings for our facility in terms of power and heat savings. So just to put that in terms, the cogen system supplies about 40% of the electricity needed to operate our wastewater treatment facility, and it provides a large chunk of our process heating requirements as well. And now, during present day, our average runtime is about 50%. So we saw a reduction of 40% throughout the past 5 to 10 years. And that correlates to about power saving and heat saving of $600,000 per year. So that additional $400,000, we have to purchase additional power and additional natural gas to offset our heating requirements. The power demand and heating requirements aren't reduced as the plant demand is always increasing. So we knew we needed to do something to rehab our cogen system. We did a pretty detailed life cycle cost analysis of 3 different alternatives to rehab our cogen system. Alternative 1 looked at a sole source procurement of reconditioned engines from the original engine manufacturer, Jenbacher. Alternative 2 and 3 looked at new engine generators from 2 other manufacturers. One fun fact about this alternative analysis was that it was partially funded by the Energy Trust of Oregon. They provided almost 50% of the engineering design cost, which is always great. So after we completed the alternative analysis, we decided to proceed forward with a sole source procurement to exchange our existing engines with recondition. This is the lowest cost alternative for the treatment facility, and it extends the useful life of the engines by approximately 60,000 hours. This is about a $400,000 savings for our Bureau, and it allows us to efficiently reuse our existing infrastructure. And with this in-kind replacement, we have a much simpler design and construction period, and the duration is shortened. So in short, it's quicker and easier to rebuild our engines. And the scope of this alternative includes replacing our engines with new reconditioned engines. And the picture in the middle kind of highlights our engines in operation right now. And we'll also be replacing the brains of our cogen system, so the electrical, instrumentation, and control pieces. And as you can see, the panel to the right, it's very old, and it's really difficult to find spare parts for our control panels. So we've had to retrofit some of the panels so we could operate them. Another key piece of this project is going to be, we're going to provide additional maintenance and electrical training. So this is going to improve our staff knowledge of the system, as well as improve our capacity to be able to do in-house maintenance. So today we are asking for authorization to proceed with a sole source contract without competition to the Penn Power Group, doing business as Western Energy Systems for the cogen system rehab and rebuild. Western Energy Systems is the only certified vendor of the Jenbacher engines in this region. This contract is not going to exceed a value of $1,942,008, and we anticipate that that we'll spend the funds over the next 4 years to complete the project and rehab our cogen system. And I think we may have some time for some questions. So,
Madam President, I think that concludes the presentation.
Colleagues, any questions? Do we have any testimony?
No one signed up.
All right. This is a first reading of a non-emergency ordinance, so we will move this on to second reading. Thank you. Next item.
Thank you.
Item 612, authorize the Portland Water Bureau Director to execute and submit hydropower license renewal application to the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission by February 2024.
Commissioner Mapps.
Thank you, Madam President. Colleagues, the resolution before us today authorizes the Director of the Water Bureau to begin the process of renewing the City of Portland's license to operate a hydroelectric plant. Now, as you all know, for the past 40 years, the city has generated hydropower at our Bull Run Dam. Hydro plants are regulated and licensed by the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, and those licenses must be renewed from time to time. And it is time for the City of Portland to renew our hydropower license with FERC. Our vote today grants the Water Bureau the authority to initiate the process of investigating whether the City of Portland wants to stay in the hydropower business. The city has until 2029 to reach consensus on that question. Colleagues, as this council explores hydropower over the next couple of years, I expect that debate to basically fall into two camps. On the one hand, I expect to hear from hydro advocates who argue that the city should continue to produce hydropower because our dams provide enough energy to power 10,000 Portland homes for 1 year carbon-free. And for the last 40 years, this program has been a net revenue generator for the city. On the other hand, I expect we will also hear from hydro skeptics who argue that although the city has made money selling hydropower over the past 40 years, it is certainly possible to lose money selling hydroelectricity. And in fact, climate change is probably making the business of selling hydropower even trickier. As the commissioner in charge of the city's Hydro Bureau, my initial evaluation of this debate is that both hydropower advocates and hydropower skeptics are both right. On the pro-hydro side, I would say this program is an obvious win-win. The city, as we've heard, generates enough green power to power 10,000 homes in the Portland metro area, and we do that without any direct costs to our taxpayers. At the same time, hydro skeptics are right to point out that the economic and the regulations that govern hydropower have evolved a lot and have gotten, frankly, tougher over the last 40 years. So it is appropriate for this council to mindfully weigh the risk associated with the City of Portland continuing to produce clean hydropower. In other words, colleagues, today is day one of what is likely to be a years-long discussion about the city's ongoing role in producing clean energy for Portlanders. Here to kick off this discussion, we have Edward Campbell, Deputy Director with the Portland Water Bureau. Welcome, Edward.
Thank you, Commissioner. Good afternoon, Council. I think we have some slides to bring up. Again, I'm Edward Campbell. I'm the Deputy Director for Portland Water Bureau. I'm here today to request authorization to begin the regulatory process that's necessary for us to continue generating and selling power from the Bull Run watershed. This is the first time since the late 1970s that the city has been involved in licensing for these facilities. So we recognize this is a relatively unusual, kind of rare consideration for the council. So I hope to provide some background in about 12 slides here to help inform your decision. Next slide, please. So first off, just a grounding in the basics here. Hydropower generation in the Bull Run is a supplemental function of our drinking water system. The hydroelectric system was constructed in 1982 to take advantage of the way that we basically store, collect, and move water for the water system. So power generation both depends on, but it's also subject to our drinking water needs and priorities. So the way that the water system's oriented, we have the watershed that lies on the western face of the Cascade Mountains. The drinking water source is the Bull Run River, on which the city has constructed 2 dams and has 2 reservoirs with those dams. Power generation occurs at those 2 locations. That's where our hydroelectric powerhouses are located. The watershed is extremely wet. It receives roughly 4 times the precipitation of Portland. It's about 135 inches of area-weighted annual average. Due to the elevation of the reservoirs, we're able to move water from east to west through our system, mostly by gravity. And so it's those 2 factors, the fact that it's extremely wet and the advantageous elevation of our system, that makes this such a great supplemental purpose of our drinking water system. Next slide, please. So what we call the Portland Hydroelectric Project mainly consists of the 2 dams, the reservoirs, the powerhouses, and the transmission lines, all of which are subject to regulation from the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, or FERC. The project is supported organizationally by a small 2-employee enterprise called the Bureau of Hydroelectric Power that functions operationally as a division of the Water Bureau, but it is a distinct organization within the city. The two powerhouses constitute a 36 megawatt facility with enough average electrical production to power 8 to 10,000 homes, as the commissioner referenced. And the electricity that is produced is sold to Portland General Electric. Over the 41-year life of the project, hydropower revenues have been sufficient to pay back the debt that was originally taken out to build the project, cover all operational costs, and return $13 million to the city's general fund. The power that is generated is considered a clean, non-emitting source of energy and is an important part of PGE's plans for achieving decarbonization of its energy portfolio. And PGE has provided written testimony in support of today's action. Next slide, please. So the main purpose of today's council action is to authorize the Water Bureau to develop and submit the necessary documentation to FERC to start this federal relicensing process. Our existing hydropower license expires in 2029, and the deadline for us to submit a pre-application documentation to FERC is 5 years in advance of that deadline, or that expiration. So that's February of 2024. Relicensing is conducted according to a very rigorous FERC process over a 5-year schedule that has to conclude by February 29, and council action is necessary for us to participate. Most importantly for today's presentation is just the reminder that today's action is not a final decision on whether or not the city will relicense. That decision will come later in this 5-year window when additional information and input is available to help inform that final decision. Next slide, please. So the pre-application documentation that's required by FERC is substantial. It's highly technical and detailed, and it will take the Water Bureau the remainder of this calendar year to complete it. If it's done well, it can save the city time and money in terms of the formal process by addressing regulator questions up front, and it may reduce some of the requirements later on if we do it well. Developing the documentation and meeting this submission deadline is critical to maintaining the city's opportunity to secure a new license. A failure to submit the required paperwork by the deadline will be regarded by FERC as a decision to surrender the license. And I'll share more about the implications of surrender in a couple slides. Next slide, please. So we can expect the following as part of the formal relicensing process. There will be multiple environmental reviews of our hydro facilities and our operations. The regulators who will conduct these reviews include FERC, National Marine Fisheries Service, U.S. Fish and Wildlife, the Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife, and the Oregon Department of Environmental Quality. There will be formal consultation with tribal nations, both in conformance with federal rules and our own city's guidelines provided by Office of Government Relations. There will be structured stakeholder and general public input and review available. There'll be the possibility that there will be additional studies required by the regulators. Typically, these would be environmental studies. And the possibility, ultimately, of additional conditions for us to renew the license. But that's something we won't know until we get to the end. Outside of required studies, the city can further study and review the opportunities, risks, and costs most relevant to a final relicensing decision, including operational, fiscal, and policy considerations that are important to the city and its participation. So toward the end of this 5-year window, probably in the fiscal 27-28 timeframe, the city will have the opportunity to make a final decision on whether to relicense based on this regulatory review, stakeholder input, and the fiscal analysis that has occurred. Next slide, please. So if the city chooses not to initiate relicensing, there is unfortunately not a do-nothing option. If we don't initiate relicensing or if we fail to submit our pre-application materials by the deadline, we will be required to participate in what's called a license surrender process. A license surrender process under FERC is equally rigorous and intensive because FERC has an obligation to ensure that decommissioning of the project and to ensure that there is decommissioning of the project and that protection and restoration of the natural systems that the project impacts are restored. The surrender process is less certain in terms of schedule and therefore has the potential for lingering cost beyond 2029 when our license expires. Surrendering the license would result in the city foregoing any net revenues from power sales after the expiration of our license in 2029, and the city would face contractual penalties from 2029 to 2032 if we chose to stop producing and selling electricity. Surrendering and decommissioning the facilities would also result in significant costs for the drinking water system. We would have to essentially construct replacement infrastructure for the powerhouses because these facilities currently enable us to efficiently move large volumes of water between our supply reservoirs and downstream of our project. And then finally, a decision to surrender now is difficult, if not impossible, to reverse according to FERC rules. By contrast, during the licensing process, it is feasible to change our approach. So if we go down the relicensing path, decide we eventually want to surrender, that is still available to us. If we start with surrender, very difficult, not really possible to turn back. Next slide, please. So in terms of costs for us to participate in the relicensing, we estimate that it will require about $8 million in external cost over the next 5 years. 5.5 years, and this is mostly for expert technical consulting and legal assistance. As I mentioned at the top, we don't do this very often. We need external expertise to help us with this process, and that's what the costs are mostly targeted towards. Some of those costs are for the potential for additional studies that might be required as part of the process. So depending on how much of that actually occurs, the funding could be different. We will be at council later this year with seeking authorization for the PTE services necessary to support this work. The work will also require 2 to 4 FTE within the organization to conduct this work over the same time period. One of those staff is a new position for a project manager for this whole process. The rest of that staff time is represented as portions of FTE experts that would be participating on a partial basis. Funding for this process is included in the current year's Water Bureau budget, and future year funding will be requested through FY 28-29. The rate impacts are already included in our financial plan that was adopted by the council last month. Last note on this, if we choose to surrender the license, we can expect the same estimated external and staffing costs. It's still a major process. However, as I mentioned before, we don't have the certainty of when that process would end, and so there could be lingering costs beyond 2029. Next slide, please. So the Bureau is contracted with Energy GPS, a local energy analysis consulting firm, to conduct a preliminary cost-benefit analysis of the relicensing versus surrender scenarios. The analysis factors in climate change impacts to hydroelectric production in the future, anticipated capital infrastructure upgrades that are going to be necessary for the facilities, and future anticipated revenues based on our current power sales agreement. The results show most likely net return to the hydro operation of around $28 million over the next 40 years if we choose to continue it. Surrendering, of course, foregoes any future revenues after February of 2029. While we would still face significant regulatory, capital, and penalty costs affecting both the general fund and water rates. Because of this, even the worst case relicensing scenario that assumes the highest costs and the lowest revenues going forward still outperforms the most optimistic surrender scenario at this time. So this analysis is very preliminary. It's not sufficient to base a final decision on. But we found it useful in framing the significant net cost differential between a relicensing and a surrender pathway. We will, as I've mentioned a couple times, have the opportunity at the end of this 5-year window to make a final decision with more refined information available to the city. Next slide, please. So recognizing this will be a multi-year decision-making process, the Water Bureau recommends the council approve the authorization to initiate relicensing. In summary, our hydropower project has been self-sustaining for 40 years, returning $13 million in revenues to the city in that time. It has been a reliable, non-emitting energy source for the Portland metropolitan electricity grid. It continues to be an incredibly efficient supplemental use of our drinking water system, One of the unique aspects of our situation with our hydro facilities is that because it's attached to a drinking water system, there's really no question that we're going to take this system apart. We're going to have dams, we're going to have reservoirs, we're going to be moving that water in the future. Making electricity out of that is still a very efficient operation. Decommissioning hydropower would create significant costs for the drinking water utility to duplicate lost functionality. And initiating the relicensing still provides that option to surrender, as I mentioned before. Next slide. So finally, one additional purpose of the resolution today is to authorize a split of the relicensing costs between the drinking water and hydroelectric enterprises. They are separate enterprises, as I've mentioned, but they are interdependent and provide functional benefits to each other in terms of both hydroelectric production and drinking water operations. Continuing to have the hydropower facilities provides direct benefits to the drinking water system, and the cost for the relicensing process initially are being split evenly between the two enterprises. This year, we are engaged in conducting a technical analysis of the cost allocation to refine and adjust that cost split, if necessary, to reflect the actual asset allocation between the two systems. And we'll update the council if there's any major changes in that cost split. Next slide, please. So next steps, if the council approves the action today, we'll come back in the fall seeking approval of our PTE services. We'll finalize and submit the pre-application documents by the end of this year. We will commence the formal relicensing process by February of next year, and at that time we would begin annual updates to the council, which is a part of our commitment through this resolution. There will be a final council decision in that FY 27-28 time period, well in advance of our license expiration in February of 2029. Next slide, please. So this is my final slide. Just we have an information website up where people can go to receive updates and communications regarding this process. I'm available for any questions.
Great, thank you. Colleagues, any questions?
I did, yes, thank you. And just to clarify, this is a first reading?
This is a resolution.
Oh, it is a resolution.
So it will be voted on today.
It will be, okay, appreciate it. Thank you for the comprehensive report. As a kind of a threshold question, when we're long-term and even medium-term energy markets are so complex to manage, and I think that's part of the critique here of, should the city be in this business? Can you walk us through what our current method is of hedging city risk associated with selling power in this way, and both in terms of the investments we make in professionals, outside help, as well as, do we purchase any financial instruments to hedge in this area? So I'm just sort of curious what we do to manage our downside risk associated with medium and long-term energy cells.
Yeah, I'll take a crack at answering a portion of that. We also have our finance director, Cecilia Hune, in the room to perhaps provide more detailed answer to that. I guess one way that we do that hedging is through the professional, the contracts that we have, the service contracts that we have with professional organizations to do the things like the maintenance, operation of the facilities, the power sales forecasting. Those are all relationships we have contractually, and so we rely on the expertise of those individuals and contract with them to actually provide those services to ensure that we're aware. I think one of the interesting options for the city going forward is to really look at the way that its current power sales agreement is structured and think about how to reduce risk associated with our participation. And I think our partners at PGE have been very supportive of recognizing that the current power sales agreement probably isn't the power sales agreement that we're going to want to be looking at if we choose to relicense. And so we could look at figuring out ways to simplify and help create some of those hedges that you were referring to, so that the city providing this resource and getting that supplemental benefit out of the drinking water system doesn't need to have a financial risk hanging over it for these purposes. So That's a partial answer to your question, Commissioner, but we can follow up with more detail if you'd like.
Yeah, and again, as a non-sort of core competency of the city, I mean, it was an incredibly innovative decision back in the 80s to start doing this. It makes sense. It supports kind of our resiliency to what's going on globally in terms of energy prices. It promotes energy independence. I think there's a ton of arguments for it. I get it. It's just as a non-trader in energy, you know, we are exposed to dynamics we simply can't control in this area. And it's just, you know, if we can think about over the medium term what smart plays we can get, even if that cuts some of our upside, just managing our downside in something like this. Again, when you're thinking over a generation, energy prices do a lot. I guess the only other real question is, I think if I understand correctly, there are times that we have negative wholesale energy prices in this region precisely because of hydro. And so correct me if that's wrong. That's my understanding that we do. And I'm just curious what currently happens if there's negative wholesale energy prices. Like how does mechanically, what happens for the city of Portland in that?
So my understanding of the current contract, and Cecilia can correct me if I state this incorrectly, is our contract determines price regardless of the market price. Where we're vulnerable to that or potentially could be advantaged by that is in instances in which we can't provide power to PGE that we've agreed to make available to them at a particular time. The wholesale costs, their alternative wholesale costs can be part of a penalty that we have to pay back. So that's where we find that variability in the power rates to be affecting us generally in terms of hydro revenues.
So just to play through that scenario to make sure I follow that. So we're dealing with a situation of drought, really low water flow. PGE is going to have to go, we can't provide sufficient energy. They're going to have to go into the wholesale markets to do that. And thinking about whether that's a put or an option, but we'll think about that another. But they have the essentially they can charge us for what it costs them to cover in that situation.
That is correct.
Okay, that's a risk. I mean,
Yes.
That's not a zero risk. Do we know how often that's come up and triggered in the last decade?
We can bring the data, but it is triggered. Every year we have typically some amount of that happening. So some years there's a lot of it, some years there's less. I mean, it really just has to do with how predictable the precipitation and the generation is from when we project it versus how it actually plays out in the calendar year.
Okay. I don't know if you had anything to add on this right now.
Actually, Commissioner Gonzalez, I invited Cecilia to come up, partly because I think the line of questioning that you raised is really important, and I think something an exercise that would be helpful for this council and the people of Portland is to just learn to hear from Cecilia a very simplified explanation of the mechanisms that we use to actually sell power to the private market. So it's my understanding, for example, that we enter into contracts with PG&E or whatnot to sell power at a certain price on certain dates. Is that correct? And then if that is correct, like what are some of the risks associated with being in that business?
Yeah, sure. I'm Cecilia Hume with the Water Bureau Finance Director. Yes, so we have a contract with PGE that has all of the pricing specified already. And so based on the projection that we have made as far as the amount of power that we can generate, we will be making positive net revenue on an annual basis going forward. Now, certainly we have recognized that in the last few years, our power generation has been much less than what we had planned and predicted. So recognizing that, as Edward said, we will be looking at the operational piece of that to minimize the amount of what we call liquidated damages in the contract, essentially when we aren't able to produce the power and PGE having to go out to the market to buy, replace that power that we can't generate, and we're charged for that. And yeah, that has happened, every year, not every month. But certainly, even with that, we are at least still able to sustain the hydro fund at this point.
Can I jump in? I know I'm jumping ahead of Commissioner Ryan here. What are some of the factors that impact our ability to produce electricity? I think I've learned that it's not just the amount of rain, it's the snowpack and when the snowpack melts and that kind of stuff.
Mostly it's precipitation. It's, did we have a good year in terms of how much precipitation came down? And then I think the secondary factor to that is, did it follow a relatively predictable pattern? So we've got, 40 plus years of history of when the precipitation comes and when we can anticipate flows to move through our system. This past year was an interesting one in which we had lots and lots of precipitation, but it came as snow. And so it created a different timing of when that water actually came through the hydro plants and created power for us. In the end, it netted out. We got pretty much back to where we were supposed to be. But for a while, we looked like we were going to be really under our revenues, but the snow melted.
And last question, is climate change responsible for it being harder to manage the space, or do we know?
We would certainly expect so. I mean, just climate change is happening. We see hydrologic changes, and it is of this nature. It's not so much that we see less precipitation. We see changes in the timing of precipitation. And so that's another, going back to Commissioner Gonzalez's question about mitigating risk, that to me seems to be one of the pieces we would want to sit down with our partners and figure out ways to lessen the risk to us that because the timing of precipitation is different, that we're somehow financially harmed by that.
Sure. And just to put a bow on it, and then I'll hand the floor back to Commissioner Ryan, I think. Our hydropower system is an important tool towards combating climate change. At the same time, climate change makes it increasingly, or raises our risk profile too. So an interesting paradox. I really appreciate both the time that I've been granted to explore this, and Madam President, I will hand the floor back to you and Commissioner Ryan.
Commissioner Ryan?
You wanted to
Just one quick follow-up question. So we are currently, that we're aware of, not purchasing any kind of financial instrument that would hedge this risk, correct? Okay.
That's
Just
correct.
arguably, when we buy insurance or self-insure for some of the risk that would contribute to declining power generation, it's hedging the risk in some ways, but no financial instrument. Okay, helpful, thank you.
Yeah, sure. Edward, good to see you. I will always think of you in that wonderful Friday trip I took up to Bull Run, so it makes these conversations easier. My question is more about capacity. This was last done 40 years ago. And so often when we do something, there's institutional memory. I can't imagine there being any institutional memory in this process at the Bureau. And so there are learning communities nationally, statewide, that you're connecting with to help this process go along, where there's better practices to learn from.
Absolutely. What's been interesting about this process, it's very much a regulatory process, and our hydro operations are housed within our engineering group. But because we recognize the resemblance of this FERC relicensing process to an environmental regulatory process, we're managing it basically under our environmental compliance section. And so that division manager has been making all kinds of outreach to other hydro operators, and we've actually learned quite a bit from many of our peers in the Northwest who are going through relicensing processes right now. There was a lot of hydro built at a certain time, and all those licenses are expiring roughly at the same time. Okay. We're really fortunate to be taking a lot of what we're learning from their experiences.
It's really comforting to hear that. One thing I love about this current form of government is we have a chance to look at the implementation and building capacity. So thanks for answering that question. That's all I have.
Great. I have just one quick question. You probably mentioned it at the start, but what is the duration of the licensure for?
Great question. You're talking about how long would the new license go for? 40 years is the standard time frame.
Okay, wow, okay. I know. This is fascinating. And so you said we still have off-ramps going through the start of the process, but it's harder to get back on. Can you just give us an idea of if we decided not to move forward, how hard would it be? Like, would we have to go through a whole new application process, whereas we wouldn't have the same kinds of standards because we're already licensed?
if I understand your question, you're asking if we chose to surrender, if we chose to not.
How much
move
harder would
forward.
it be? Yes.
How much harder? Yeah, it's not, these are questions we've been asking our legal experts, and they've been really careful not to, pardon me, to overstate that it's completely impossible, but it would be a situation in which you would be essentially starting from scratch instead of entering into the regulatory arena with the sense that you already have a license, there's already known conditions, there's known facilities. They would basically say, come in and establish from the ground why you think this is a good place to generate electricity. So it's a much higher standard, and it's just hard to fathom the difficulty of that.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from my colleagues on this topic? Do we have any testimony?
No one signed up.
No? Okay, so this is a resolution, so we will be taking a vote. Keelan, would you please call the roll?
Gonzalez.
Aye.
Mapps.
I just want to thank staff for the presentation and the dialogue today. I vote aye.
Ryan.
Aye.
Rubio.
Thanks for the really good discussion and the presentation. I vote aye. Okay, that's me. Okay, this passes. This resolution passes. Thank you for the presentation. We will move on to the next item.
Item 613, declare surplus real property at 3 Portland Water Bureau locations and request authorization to dispose of properties.
Commissioner Mapps.
This is the second reading.
Okay, second reading. So call the roll, please.
Gonzalez.
Aye.
Mapps.
Aye.
Ryan.
Aye.
Rubio.
Aye. Okay, it passes, and I think that was the last item on our agenda, so we are adjourned, colleagues.